Hello, hello, and good evening. And I accidentally made the scene change twice. It's fine. It's fine. Welcome to the final chapter on Kaorunindo's route, which we just stopped in, I don't know, the middle of, the start of it. Not quite sure. So I don't know how much we have left, but we shall find out. We stopped right before walking into that tower. I am still hoping we can save all of them. Both the sister and him. Even though they're now non-humans. Maybe we'll be able to return her sanity and everything. Good evening! Do you have time? Do you have time to watch the stream? The music will probably abruptly change if we load into this, because the mood where we stopped is very different from the funky jazz music right now. Friend has redone it again. Oh! Okay. Well then, time for some goo. There's no one in sight in the GPM. We slowly follow the path made by the shadow through the reddish black painted interior. I don't see anyone. Kind of doubt it. Today's a weekday, and even during the night I'm sure a lot of people were still working here. Mr. Reno must know that. We carry on our way with a stern look on our faces, eyes open for any survivors. Of course you are. All the way up there, so it'll be really hard for us to get there. We stop in our steps hearing Mikado's voice. Well, we look at each other, nod and walk towards the door. Please do. Please do. It's going to be something along the lines of, oh, actually, you know, the whole upper departments thingy and everyone did experiments on her, so she turned into a non-human, and it's not even her fault or something. Uh-oh. Oops. The GPM number 2 Research and Development Department. The first thing I saw after coming here was a non-human on a rampage inside of a cell. Are they getting drugged? How's the Type 3 able to agree on anything? That's not a word I associate with uncommunicable Type 2 non-humans. His words sound awkwardly vague, so I decide to probe a bit further. Oh no.
さすがに第一開発課で課長を長く務めていただけはあるね。この人外はね、元人間なんだ。
That was easy. He said exactly what I suspected.
この第二開発課で開発した人外化促進薬 メタプラジアを投与された人間なんだよ。
A forbidden drug that stimulates human to change into non-humans developed in absolute secret at the GPM. Of course. Of course they would do that.
人外か。
ん？それほど驚くことかね。君とて手元に人外化した人間を第一に抱えているじゃないか。
He looks at me with cold eyes, to which I instinctively pull
この第二開発家ではね、人間を人外へと進化させるという革新的な技術を研究しているんだ。
Evolve humans into non-humans, but keep the human psyche in sync and everything, so they can gain better reflexes and control and everything, but still keep the humanity and stuff, and then they will try to get into higher positions everywhere.
人が言うの。
I'm betting.
進化。なんでそんなこと。
これは人類の発展と繁栄のためには無視できない研究なんだよ。君も知っての通り、人外というのは我々人間よりもハイスペックな肉体を持つものばかり。彼らのその長所のみを我々人間に移植することができれば凄まじい価値になるとは思わんかね。
長所のみ。
例えば人外の持つ生命力、これを人間に与えられれば病気の克服につながる。現代の医学では治せない不治の病や瀕死の怪我などの治療に人外の持つ要素は役立つかもしれない。それだけでなく人体の一部分のみを人外化できれば人体、腕力の強化につながり災害救助に役立つかもしれない。
This is how it would turn out. Oh, okay, yeah, a secret society thingy that collects data on non-humans. Yeah, they definitely don't want to do bad stuff with it. No.
だが人外の権利などを騒ぐ輩も多くてね。その結果は君も知ってる。
Evolving humans not trusting the non-humans from Café Enchanté, they're really nice. Yeah, they just want them for the experiments and everything. They don't see them as anything, as a living thing, as something that has worth.
最も人類発展に貢献するはずのこの第二開発家
A
は
section of GPM whose
存
existence
在
was
を
kept hidden
隠
from
匿されて
regular
しまって
members.
い
They
るのだ。
perform various experiments and research that violate laws and morals. Wow. No wonder. That would explain the disclaimer when I sent a promotion to keep all matters
こ
secret.
こはこんな部署だったんですね。
Oh god. Okay.
ああ、おかげで常に人材不足でね。勤続年数が長く
He's
理念を
probably
理解してくれそうな人員
on
を
a quest
常に探しているん
to
だ。
kill all the people involved with this. Like I bet the guy we saw him kill last time was one of the department heads.
副局長に君を推薦してもらえて本当に良かったよ。
So he's the one who recommended me to be reassigned here. I'm not sure whether or not I should be happy hearing
ここ
that.
にいる人外は、いや、元人間はどこから連れて
Oh
きた
yeah,
んです
true.
か。
Where, if they were human, where do they come?
研究に加わればすぐにわかるさ。ま、大抵は人外化も仕方ないと思えるような人間たちだがね。
Excuse me. I see. Like you said earlier, that means the non-humans here were terminally ill or are criminals. The GPM is a government institution. Sourcing from hospitals and prisons is easy. I suppose they used indisclosable
し
means.
かし、長く続く研究の中でも知性を保持したままの人外化はどうしても叶わないんだ。
I hate how they say this stuff. Like, create. They create a non-human.
皆人格も理性も失い、凶暴化した挙句に対話もままならない。
Disgusting.
帝明君、君ならば無論やってくれるだろう。君はすでに人外化した人間を所持している研究者なのだから。
そう言われては、僕は何も言えなかった。人外を クーちゃんを手元に置いて常に実験しているマッドサイエンティスト。それが GPM 上層部での僕の評価だったからね。でも正直最初の説明を聞いたときはこれでようやく人の目を気にせずに雫のための研究をできると喜んだよ。僕はずっと雫を元に戻すためならどんな実験も厭わなかった。だからこそそんな僕は確かに第二開発家にふさわしいんだろうけれど僕は見つけてしまったんだ。第二開発
A
家の
top
研
secret
究
file
に
immediately
加わっ
after
てす
joining
ぐ
the group. What is it? After listening to the boss's explanation, he took me on a tour around the area before leading me to the library where they kept the
こん
data.
な物々しい説明があった割に今までいた研究室と大して変わらないみたいだね。クーちゃん。
I held my breath as soon as I began talking to Ku. I noticed her eyes were shining. They looked like the eyes of a beast ready to hunt its prey. She didn't react much besides when it was time to dine, but
ちゃん
I looked in the direction she was looking at to see a shelf of documents. Oh, she does. I think Ku has a bunch of her intelligence still in her. She just cannot talk and make it show it. But she's definitely still retaining some of her humanity. I slowly head toward the shelf when I notice that Ku starts to twitch a little. I grabbed the file she's staring at. The file was labeled non-human sample records. Is this a file that has all the records of those that were turned into non-humans? If so, it may offer a hint on how I can make her human again. I hurriedly look inside the file. Case 056, subject GPM Finance G, selected due to legal infractions. See video file number. Subjects of failure, exterminated by Intelligence Division. Subject Civilian B took a Type 3 into custody and was injured. See video file. Subjects of failure, rampage with the Type 3, exterminated with drug dosage. Subject R&D R tried to expose number 2's inhuman Currently under Akira Mikada's care under strict surveillance, no particular results yet. So they gave her the drug to make her shut up. And also collect data on her. If something good comes from it, yay, they're somehow further. If she dies, she dies. Boom! Fuck. Wait. I tossed the file to the side and ran to a nearby computer.
120823092そこだ。どこにある？
I quickly searched the files and find the video file. I'm not reading that number. I played a video. It shows Shizuku captured and injected with a drug that slowly and painfully changed her into a non-human. Oh.
嘘だ。嘘だ。嘘だ。嘘だ。
Shizuku was in a cell. Shizuku cried her name out loud. She broke out of her cell and devoured a researcher whole. Her suffering captured in that video replays in my head. I thought Shizuku's failed experiment was what led her to turn into a non-human, but I was wrong. They made her into a non-human to make her shut up.
つまり、雫は宇宙人、人外にさせられたっていうのか。
She wasn't a perpetrator at all. She was a victim. Interesting that they would take him to the department then. They have to be aware that he would find these files. A burning rage fills my heart. Shizuku was taken from me, and not because of fate or an accident. She was taken from me because of pure and simple evil. That's a long scream. Humans turned an innocent human into a non-human. Human. They weren't human.
よほど人を外れたものじゃないか。
Mr. Mikado finishes his cruel and hopeless story. We're shocked. We frown hearing it. With the story fresh in our minds, we arrive at the top of the building. It would bad for them if she was still able to talk after the transformation. Hey, I wonder how they will make this end then. Like, Mikado knows. Mikado is going on a rampage, killing everyone involved. And it's like, he's not going to stop there, right? He also made his best friend into a non-human. Now, well, we did, but he gave us the ability to do it. The wind swirls amid the towering buildings. There stood Mikado, exhausted and ready to fall. Also, there she is. She's a peculiar non-human. It looks like some kind of solidified black liquid. Is that Shizuka? Mr. Mikado's doll, whose true form is in front of us. Mikado's lover transformed, all because of the number 2 R&D department, Mr. Rindo's younger sister. But her form is so peculiar that it's hard to imagine she was once a human. Her face and her form showed no signs of intelligence or emotion.
Rindo, 正直僕はすごくほっとしているんだ。
Wait, that's right.
君が理性を保ったまま人外化してくれて。
He retained his humanity. How?
君を助けたいという気持ちは本物だった。けどもし他の検体のように暴走してしまったら、そんな一末の不安もあったのだよ。
I didn't even question it, so I was just like, yep, you're a love interest, you're gonna survive it. That's right, he mentioned that all the subjects failed and went on a rampage, including Shizuku. Mikado nods to me as if he knew what was in my mind.
人ならざるものになる過程では、被験者の体は脳も含め、文字通りの意味で別のものへと作り変えられる。
Did you
脳
find
が
it?
変わるんだから精神構造も変わる。理性は削られ、より原初の感情が優先されるようになる。
恨み、怒り、失望、絶望。人外化の際に抱いた負の感情が、そ
Wait, so that's why Shizuku and the subjects went on a rampage?
ご名答。
Oh.
だからリンドウが曲がりなりにもその
Because
姿
they
を
were
保
turned
ち、
under those
そして理性を保持しているのは
obviously all they felt were negative emotions.
人外化への絶望よりも生き延びることへの希望、
Ah.
そして何より
Mikado shows an expression of joy and sorrow.
君という存在が強く起因しているのだと僕は踏んでいるんだ。
He lets out an eerie smile.
まあ、データも何もないただの直感。科学者らしからぬ言葉だと自分でも理解しているよ。その他にも僕の方で拒絶反応ができる限り
He
出ないよ
did do something to it.
実の妹である雫の血をベースに
Ah.
メタプラジアを改良したり、様々な要因が絡んでこそと理解しているがね。
Mikado's haughtiness and attitude as a researcher has disappeared. Instead, he looks like a completely different person as he gazes at Shizuku.
しかし、それが君の人外としての姿だとすれば、実の兄弟でも随分な差異が出たね。
何とでも言えばいい。人間をやめてまでここに来たんだ。僕はここでお前を止めてみせる。
Ooh, he has a new sprite. The air stands still and fills with tension. It feels like the place will devolve into chaos with a slight move. Mikado smiles.
何を考えていてもか。それは本当なのかな。例えば君や雫が人間に戻れる可能性があったとしても。
Huh? As if he expected our reactions, Mikado spreads his arms and gleefully begins to speak.
雫は他者の生命力を吸うたびに少しずつ感覚を取り戻しているんだ。
I still think she's crying.
彼女は今まさに 人間へと戻っている最中なんだ。
Yeah, he also gets a new sprite.
聞こえただろう。今までの何を話しかけても反応しなかった。クーちゃんとは違う。
I don't think she wants this. Like, if she actually gains her sanity, she's gonna be like, why did you make me do that?
僕の名前を呼ぶところまで。
Because imagine how many people's life force did she have to take to just get to this point. Mikado looks overjoyed by his announcement. Horror, sorrow, suffering, various emotions are flowing within me, making me sick. Mikado, you're...
先ほども言った通りだが、林道の人外化は雫の血をベースにした薬によるもの。つまり林道も雫と同じ、人の命を奪うことで元の人間へ戻っていく。それでも君たちは僕らを否定するのかい？
帝、お前ってやつ。
Mr. Indo repositions himself. He must have taken it negatively. Mikado looks sad and in pain, but...
何が不満なんだ？林道、雫が元に戻れるんだ。彼女を殺したこの忌々しい組織を土台にして、優しくてバカ正直で真面目でただただ甘党で、僕との未来を語っては幸せそうに笑っていた彼女をこいつらは殺したんだよ。
He's right. His hair explodes. The shadow flowing from Shizuku's body begins to intensify. It's as if she's responding to his hatred.
僕と雫の何を咎めようって言うんだ。奴らは自分勝手な都合で彼女を殺した。
Mr. Reno bites down on his lips as though he's enduring a sharp pain from every word he hears. I can't begin to fathom what kind of visceral emotions they must be experiencing. But... Mikado. But I know them. He loves Shizuku. His voice was filled with kindness each time he spoke about her. Even if Shizuku can return back to a human form, how many more innocent lives do you need to make that happen? Her shadow continues to spread. It's enough proof that the people inside of the GPM weren't enough to satisfy her. Even if she came back to use a human, Shizuku wouldn't like what...
分かってる。言われなくても分かってるよ。雫は優しいから。それで人間に戻ったところで罪の意識に苦しむのも分かってる。でもね、それでも僕は戻ってほしいんだ。
The reddish black shadow overflows the rooftop as it slowly increases.
罪なら僕が背負う。雫が後悔と苦悩で嘆くなら僕が支え続けていく。
帝、お前はそこまでして。
琴音くん、君ならこの気持ちがわかるはずだよ。林道のためにその業を全て背負ってでも生きてほしいと願った君なら。
はい。
お願いだ。どうか僕たちに協力してほしい。僕と雫と君と林道と人間としての幸せを僕たちと一緒に取り戻そう。
His words are sweet and highly intoxicating. My response is... a save. And we won't help. Returning Mr. Indo back into a human, we could go back to being happy together like it used to be. I want him to be able to stand in daylight without fear. I want to walk around the theme park lovingly holding his hand. I want to enjoy a wonderful meal at the gourmet bistro and stare into his eyes. Everything can be brought back. The offer is too sweet to refuse, but...
悪いけど、その提案は拒否させてもらうよ。
It was Mr. Rindo who turns his head away from the sweet allure. Mr. Indo is smiling. The smile on his face is no different from before, even in his non-human form.
僕だって人間に戻れるものなら戻りたいさ。だけどお前に協力するとは言えない。
理由を聞いても。
大前提として他の誰かを犠牲にしてまで幸せになったとしてそれを彼女が喜ぶはずがない。人間と人外が一緒になったとして幸せになれないなんて決まり事は。
その逆もしかりだろう。それどころか格段に可能性は低いというのに、そんな当たり前のことを。
そうさ、当たり前で常識で普通のことだけど、もう僕はわからないだけで怯えることはやめたんだ。
Out of all people, it's the one guy that said, "Oh, you can't get along with non-humans, blah 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 blah, keep your distance." Well, I also said you don't try to put distance between us over something we don't know. Mind you, I'm the owner of Enchanté, you know? My normal isn't normal anymore. Aha!
僕たちの普通をなめるなよ、ミカド。
Mr. Rindo.
バカなことを。
He must know that we won't bite. Do we get an epic fight scene now? Mikado raises his arm to which Shizuku extends her shadow into a claw. Mr. Rindo uses his own claws to deflect the incoming shadow. Mr. Rindo and Shizuku sparks fly with each attack. The siblings strike each other, then jump back to create space between them. Both have positions themselves to protect the ones they love. Mr. Rindo covers me. Shizuku covers Mr. Mikado. There's no turning back at this point.
やはりこうなるのか。けれど、もう僕たちは引き返すことはできない。
Do we?
だとしても止めることはできる。お前の友達としても、雫の兄としても。
Mr. Rindo repositions himself so that his non-human left side is facing toward them. Oh, by the way, we found out last time that the age difference between Shizuku and Mikado is only 2 years, because Shizuku is 15 years younger than Kaoru Rindo. A whisper. Shizuku lowers her head down as if bowing. Suddenly, ooh, that's a few more hands. The shadow morphs into multiple hands flying towards us. Mr. Rindo is cutting them apart so fast that I can only catch small glimpses of his moves. He's moving beyond the speed of mortals. Mr. Rindo jumps into the air after Shizuku rises into the air too fast for me to keep up with. Ooh. The beast and the shadow's claws clash. A dull metallic sound resonates throughout the rooftop.
ったく、我が妹ながら手強いね。
Don't be mean. Maybe it's because they're siblings, or maybe it's because they both hold the powers of non-humans. The fight seems like they're...
会話しているように見えないかい？
What? Mikado. I hear his voice amid the savage battle taking place in front of us.
そんなに身構えないでおくれ。非力な僕たちは互いに信じる者を見守るとしよう。僕たちの執念か、君たちの希望か。どちらにせよ、最後には片方しか残らない。
Mr. Rindo won't lose. My knees feel like jelly, but I need to force myself to be strong. I need to maintain my confidence and keep my eyes on Mr. Mikado. He looks at me and smiles.
人外を愛した者同士だというのに。
I don't know. Maybe the fact that we turned ours into a non-human like 2 days ago, and you suffered through all of this for years, thinking it was her own fault or an accident, but then you found out it was actually some really evil people. So like, your anger is very much what's the word? I don't know.
僕と君の違いは
A simple question, an honest question, as I contemplate how I can respond. The battle was evenly matched until Mr. Rindo is knocked back to where I am. Mr. Rindo! I hurry to his side and lift him up. He isn't gravely injured, but I can see the pain in his face from the blows he's taken.
君たちの決意は理解した。けれど、どうあがいても雫を止めることは不可能だよ。雫は今この瞬間も絡め取った命の端々を貪り吸収している。いわば常に回復しながらの戦闘が可能。
So what do we need to stop her shadow?
冷静に考えるんだ、リンド。
Oh, her connection to the shadow then, I guess. But Mr. Mikado's words are proved by how Shizuku hasn't sustained a single wound throughout the battle. On the contrary, her black shadow is pulsating like waves on the shore as if it's gaining more power.
いいじゃないか、リンド。雫もきっと君を殺したくはない。今ならまだ間に合う。僕たちを認められないのならどうか逃げてくれないか。
It's coming from the bottom of his heart. Mr. Mikado's eyes flashed a sense of sorrow and care. But
無茶を言うなよ、ミカド。僕がそんな弱腰だと思うのか。
something about his right hand looks off. It's like, yes, he has big claws now, but his arm is... Oh, never mind, his arm goes that way. Yeah, it still looks off. Mr. Reno gets back up to his feet and repositions himself. Shizuku simply raises her huge shadow-infused claw high above her head. We won't survive this blow. The shadow comes straight down on us suddenly. Yeah! An explosion appears in front of us from below, followed by a roar. I mean, we're not the only ones here, right? There we go. Because we have friends we can count on.
屋上の4分の1を消し飛ばすのは見ろ、無事だったからいいものの危うく琴音を巻き込むところだったぞ。うっせ、虹だったならいいじゃねえか。
Cadus, Ignis. Everyone forgot they also exist, I guess. Cadus and Ignis jump out onto the roof.
なぜこの二人がここに?
I thought Shizuku's shadow prevented the patrons from getting near here. Mikado and I are looking at them in astonishment, to which Ignis smiles and points his finger down.
確かに外からは入れねえだろうが。
Oh?
ここにはもう一つ抜け穴があるじゃねえか。ああ、異世界からつながる
Excuse
大きな
me?
抜け穴がな。
So it's still open.
まさかベスティアのゲートから。
Are you kidding me? He didn't close it?
ああ、ミシェルとイルが外の影を食い止めてるうちに。
They actually went back to Enchanté just to get through Bestia and then used the portal that's somewhere in Bestia, and which we found out on Ignis's route is several days of journey away from the one from the Enchanté door. Okay, sure you did. Ignis points upward. I look up and see the two far up in the sky. Maybe it's just me, but it looks like those two are waving at me.
多勢での助力。戦いとしては褒められたものだが。
Yes!
緊急事態。
Go off!
容赦はせん。
卑怯とは言わないさ。雫だって周囲から力を奪いながら林道と戦っていたんだが、それにまだ決着はついたわけじゃない。
Answering Mr. Mikado's call, Shizuku roars and causes the air around us to vibrate.
諦めるか。
見てられねえな。リンド、てめえには悪いが速攻で。
What? My vision goes completely black. It was so sudden that I couldn't react at all. The shadow that was surrounding us has now turned into a separate individual shadow. Has now turned into separate individual shadows that rushes each of us. Before we knew it, we can catch up. The shadow felt weird. It felt like I was sinking in a blend of water and mud. I could breathe fine, but every bit of strength in me started to leave my body. And it also seems to have affected the others. Everyone has lost their mobility.
もう少し話していたかったんだけど、彼らが乗り込んできてしまった以上、なりふり構っていられなくなったんでね。何せ、次は魔王と打天使の相手もしなくちゃならないんだ。今ここで、君たちの力をいただいていくよ。
I can hear Mikado's voice in the distance as my vision fades. Shizuku must be consuming us right now, or maybe she's embracing us in sympathy in an attempt to console us. Not that I can tell. My vision goes completely black. The sounds all begin to fade away. Ah. A shrill shriek awakens my conscience. I fall to the floor and look up to see Shizuku falling back with black liquid gushing out of her. I then see Mr. Rindo in his claw covered with the same black liquid.
なぜ動ける？雫の影に触れていたのに、なぜリンドウだけは動けるんだ？
その答えなら、お前が一番よくわかるんじゃないか、ミカド。
I see Canis and Ignis on the floor unable to move and likely with no power left within them, but Mr. Rindo stands in front to protect everyone. Well, if her blood was in the thingy he got to turn into a non-human, wouldn't he be kind of unaffected? Yeah! Mr. Rindo turns to face Shizuku, who is teetering from her wound. Mikado warps his face in disgust hearing his decision.
なんで諦めてくれないんだ、リンドウ！僕たち
He also has a fang.
雫を思っていたじゃないか。
Ha! He very technically has a fang. It's very small, but he has one.
なのにどうしてお前は諦めてくれないんだよ。
Mr. Rindo moves in one step at a time as Mikado continues screaming.
諦めないよ、僕は。諦めるわけ。僕の目の前。大切なやつら。二人揃ってバカをやって。片方は美人のくせに可憐なつくて。意外と友達が少なくて。そのくせ結構甘えたね。片方はどう見てもそうは見えないけど。本物の天才ってやつでどっちも僕にとってはかけがえのないもう一度笑い合って普通の日々を過ごしたかった妹と友達なんだよ簡単に諦めることなんてできるわけないだろうが
The ground crumbles from his shout. His voice brings her to him. The siblings are no longer human. They look at each other in silence. Such a calm voice, a voice that calls for the end. They put all their might into their blows. Ooh! I wanted to take a screenshot, but there's no way. Countless shadows of all shapes and sizes form and attack Mr. Rindo. They strike his legs, arms and body. They cut, slice and pierce with each hit, but Mr. Rindo strikes back and carves away at Shizuku's shadow-infused tentacles. Ooh! The battle can't be stopped. They continue striking each other. The tentacles continue to grow out endlessly, but their end had to be near. Actually, says it. True! A thunderous roar. Mr. Ino pierces Shizuku's body. A blow that would kill any mortal in an instant. Shizuku's body begins to twitch violently, and then she slowly crumples to the floor. It's obvious that the wound inflicted a critical even to non-humans. There's no doubt who won. Wow, so first he gets turned into a non-human, and then he has to kill his sister again. Kind of like he had to do it once already. Mr. Ino drags himself up. He slowly walks towards Shizuku and looks down at her. Again. Ah! Sorrow. Mr. Ino's expression could only be described with that one word. He's a step away from striking range, a step away from the end. But before he could make that step, Mikado's... Yeah, of course. A silhouette quickly moved and stood in front of her. He spreads his arms out in defense. This is the same as 7 years ago. He falls to the ground and grovels, asking for forgiveness. Mikado pleads at the top of his voice, but... Oh. Oh wait, he's right. We touched the shadow. Oh fuck. Ah! I didn't even realize. Of course, now that we've touched the shadow. Oh. Mr. Ino slowly extends his arm to Shizuku, just before his claw touches her twitching body. Uh-oh. Shizuku roars. Surprised that she could still move, Mr. Ino makes his move to decapitate her head when... Shizuku! Mr. Ino halts, seeing Mr. Mikado embrace Shizuku, then without warning... A dull sound resonates through the area as Shizuku's claw pierces Mr. Mikado's body. He lunges forward to help his friend. But Mikado simply smiles and raises his hand. Oh, don't... I don't want the happy ending if it means both of them die. And just like that, Shizuku's body slowly starts to limp and crumble away. It's as if her body was falling apart like loose sand. Mikado looks at the wound on his abdomen and snickers before falling to his knees. Ah, don't do that! Blood spills out from his body. Mikado smiles. Excuse me?
一僕は長くはなかった
Mr. Mikado slowly crumbles. He falls onto what remains of Shizuku.
雫人間に戻すことにこだわった
Blood spills out from his mouth.
人間がないと幸せになれないのだと僕自身無意識に
But did she really? Wouldn't have been enough if she... He musters what little strength he has left to take something out of his pocket.
とにかくもう一つ方法があったはずなの誰にも迷惑をかけずにその方法が
In Mikado's hand is something I'm very familiar with. It's the medicine I gave to Mr. Rindo.
雫雫聞こえる
Mikado gently speaks. He calls his lover's name as she slowly crumbles away. He talks to her as if he was admitting his love to an inanimate object.
君を人間に戻せないなら僕が君と同じになればいいもっと早くにこうしていれば
Ah!
君だって苦しくなかったのかもしれない
And with that, Mr. Mikado swallows the metaplasia. But he won't change into a non-human now that he's on the verge of death. Mikado must have swallowed the medicine to show his fate what it was in his own hands. Even it was to gain peace of
こ
mind.
れでずっと一緒だよ雫
Man! Mikado lets out a warm and gentle smile before taking his final breath. How is this a happy ending? A whisper can be heard. Mr. Rindo watches the life leaving their bodies. They were in love with each other, the end of a human and a non-human. They lived lives that we ourselves could have lived, a sad and tragic fate that could have fallen upon us. So she comes with, yeah! Like, I knew it was going to be tragic, but... No, I'm sorry, ending song, you're going to give me another copyright problem, so I can't let you play. Oh, come on! And then it's just a very sudden topic change, like, oh, it is now several months later. The entirety of the GPM was abolished for whatever they fucking did, and also half the people are dead now. The sky above Enchanté is clear and blue. Uh-huh. I'm pouring coffee as I hum my favorite tune.
やれやれ、やっと落ち着いてきたね。GPM がいつもみたいに俺たち側の騒動を片付けるならいざ知らず。まさか逆に GPM 側の騒動のフォローを俺たちがすることになるなんてさ。疲労こそありませんが、ここ1ヶ月あちこちと飛び回ったおかげで乙女ゲームをする時間もありませんで
Oh,
した。
I'm very sorry, my guy.
てめえにとっちゃいい薬になったんじゃねえか。これを機会に引きこもるのやめろってんだ。
Don't be rude.
ミシェルとイルは功労者なのだから、それくらいの自由は認めてやるべきだろう。
Well, now, what did they do?
それで広がっていた例の呪詛の残滓が全て無事に取り払えたのか。
そりゃもうバッチリって言っても放置しても問題ないくらい弱々しいものしか残ってなかったけどね。
Oh, Konoha exists in this route still. Because for some reason he didn't show up at all anymore. Konoha is squeaking with a smile as the regulars carry on with their usual discussions. Nishio turns around in his seat and looks toward me.
君の生活も あれから少し時間が経って落ち着いてきたのかな。
Well, sort of.
ならよかった。でも
All of a sudden, Misha starts to look visibly
今
depressed.
のことは残念だったね。
What do you mean?
ああ、惜しいものをなくしたな。
Excuse me?
あいつだってまだまだやり残したことがあっただろうによ。
Hello?
せめて彼が安らかに眠れるよう
He's not dead. They're all making a joke at his expense. He's not dead, right? Everyone closes their eyes in silence.
あのさ、
Ah!
ここぞとばかりに人を亡き者にしようとするのやめてくれないかな。
Jesus Christ. Mr. Reno appears with a frown on his face.
まったくカヌスまで悪乗りしちゃってさ。
すまぬな。それで最近の調子はどうだ、リンド。
Hello?
おかげさまでってわけでもないけど、体の調子として
Excuse
は
me?
上
What?
々で
Why?
私生活の方も順風満帆。可愛いマスターが毎日そばにいてくれるおかげでね。
Mr. Reno walks over to the counter and then starts right next to me. He then gently holds my shoulder and pulls me towards him. Mr. Reno, you're going out?
見せつけてくれ
You're
る
going
な。
out and you still
もう
call
様
him Mr.
胸
Reno?
焼けでうっかりリンドウだけピンポイントで燃やしちゃい
Misha,
そう。
you get your route. You get your route soon. You have to. I'm sorry, you have to deal with this.
そうですか。愛を尊ぶ私としては実に幸せな光景だと思います。
Il knows what's up.
俺は心底どうでもいいな。飯さえ出てくりゃ文句はねえよ。
Mm-hmm.
おや、祝いの進路どうこうと言っていたのはどこの誰だったか。
Oh. Oh.
てめえ、あんだけ言うなって言ったろうが。
Mr. Reno smiles, seeing the usual patrons go at it as he begins to help me with the chores. After the tragedy had ended, Mr. Reno began helping me with the chores here at Enchanté. Did he lose his job? Does the GPM still exist? Mr. Mikado and Shizuku, Mr. Reno lost those that were precious to him. Then a month passed. Of course! What did I say? They managed to somehow figure out how to deal with the problem that is in his route, but then they just do it. And then BAM! It's over. Done. Finito. And then a month passed. How? With the death of those two and the help of Mishi and the gang, the shadow that shrouded the GPM had vanished for good. It seems like the hex has completely disappeared without a trace of it left behind. Also, being that the GPM couldn't recover the operations immediately, Mr. Rindu, Mishi and the gang searched the building and infiltrated the No. 2 R&D department. There they located the research data and materials that caused the tragedy. They incinerated everything with no remorse. In doing this, we prevented the existence of the No. 2 R&D department from ever being exposed to the public. This was the best chance we had of destroying any information that could potentially cause more tragedies. Unfortunately, those who were consumed by Shizuku went missing and to this day have not been found. As for the survivors, those who had come in contact with the shadow and afflicted with the hex were able to recover, albeit slowly. Many are unable to explain what had happened. I can only hope Mr. Rindo's younger sister and friend can now rest in peace. And so the truth was twisted just a bit. Incident report. The Type 2 non-human coup lost control due to probing done by the researchers in No. 2. As a result, the Type 2 attacked the members of the GPM. Suffering a fatal wound, Kaoru Dindo administered himself a prototype drug to turn into a non-human and save his life. Akira Mikado, who was in charge of the Type 2, assisted in stopping its rampage. Akira Mikado was able to stop the Type 2's rampage in exchange for his life, putting an end to the incident. Mr. Rindu reported this to the authorities as what happened at the GPM. As for Mr. Rindo, there's no way he can work at the GPM in his new form, so he took a leave of absence and is focusing on his recovery. On the topic of turning back into a human, it really depends on Mishi and the gang, along with the findings of the numerous research organizations. So instead of worrying and thinking of plans for the future, he's here with me every day to help run Café Enchanté. I think about all that's happened while attending to the customers. Before I know it, it's closing time. The regulars have returned to their usual places. Mr. Reno and I are the only ones left. Mr. Reno, you've gotten pretty good at cleaning up the
伊
place.
達に一人暮らしが長くないんでね。と言ってもこの腕じゃちょっとやりづらいけどさ。あとそんな顔しないで。自虐とかじゃなくて単なる感想だよ、感想。
I'm not sure if I believe you. You worry me all the time, you know. We casually chat with each other like this through the day until we come to an obvious discussion. Mr. Indo, you haven't decided whether you're going back to the GPM or not, right?
まあね。向こうから復帰してくれって散々連絡が来てるんだけど。
I mean, does he need to? He could just... Hey, Slugman! He could just walk with us.
こんな被験体があのビルをカッポしたら下で。
Like no one
また別の
will
トラブルにならないかな。
be bothered by it in here. And we definitely earn enough money for some reason. Sexy Slugman! Mr. Rindo, I know it's odd for me to ask, but I just hope you put yourself first to make the right call for your future, okay?
そうだね。ああ、でもいっそアンシャンテの正式な従業員になるのもありかも。
I don't mind.
公安の雫ブランドもなかなか好評みたいだし。
Mind you, your Yumikado blend needs a bit more work. Mr. Rindo created original coffee blends named after the two. As long as I am the owner of Enchanté and as long as Mr. Rindo's memories doesn't fade away, the two will live here forever.
それでなんだけど、みんなも言ってた通り、そろそろあれから1ヶ月が経つ。
Yeah, because time flies by suspiciously fast in this game whenever we manage to get rid of whatever problem we've been having. I know what's bothering me about the hands. Like, it's still how your fingers have 3 parts, but for some reason the base of his hand is so small. Like, if his fingers are this long, they'd need to make the base of his hand in relation to it bigger. That's what's bothering me. Like, you can see it when he has his hands like he has right now. Like, his fingers are way too long. Oh, whatever. That's what. I let out a bewildered look to his somewhat abrupt question.
今後のこと以上に優先して考えたことがあったんだ。
Pray tell. It doesn't matter if you're human or not, I love you because of who you are, Mr. Rindo. Oh.
結局あの時はちゃんと返事をしなかったから。
Oh.
どういう言葉で君の言葉に答えるべきか。
Yeah! Before I know it, I feel something warm on my lips. Mr. Rindo, after all the suffering and anxiety over our differences as humans and non-humans, he finally made the move. Yes! He kisses me passionately as if he needs me. Ah! He moves his lips away and gently smiles while I try to get my mind settled.
前回は君に押されっぱなしだった。
Yay!
その名誉挽回とは言わないけど、あの時にもらった君からの強い思いに僕もちゃんと応えたいと思ったんだ。
His words and action, I can feel my heart
人
pounding.
ならざる身になったことに
Ha ha ha!
これから先 人間である君との差を思い知って打ちひしがれる時も来るかもしれないもし僕が人間のままだったら
I still think she was right. Now that he's not human, he's going to live longer. And seeing as he was already way older than us, this is good. This is good. His face isn't fully human anymore. Even so, Mr. Rino lets out the most gentle and kind smile I've ever seen from him.
そんな不安があってもやっぱり僕は君が好きだその気持ちだけは捨てられない
Yay! Mr. Rino. Mr. Rino continues after hearing my
必
shaking
ず
voice.
幸せにするなんて先の見えない今の僕には言えないでも
I mean, think about it, our ages are pretty different, which means that we could spend our time together that much longer now. All I ask is that you don't try to put distance between us over something we don't know. Mind you, I am the owner of Enchanté, you know? My normal isn't normal anymore.
信じるって約束ができる君が描いた前向きな未来が少しでも僕らの元に訪れることこんないびつな僕の手でも
Yes, let me hold your claws.
手をつないでくれるのかな
Unbelievable. Is that even a question? You should have done this a lot sooner.
あれ我本気めのお怒りあ、それはその本当にごめんだって僕も一応は万が一にも振られるのが怖かった普通の男だからさ
Oh, you know.
でも君がそう言ってくれた以上もう遠慮はいらないよね
Aww. This time it's consensual. We kiss because we want to. I love you, Mr. Rino. No matter what you do. No matter how you look. I love you because of who you are. My pure and true feelings for you. A kiss for you with all my heart. Yeah! Woo! Ah ha ha ha! Well, yeah. I should have expected this. Because this happens every time. Prologue 4, so we really get it. How? Why? He and I were supposed to be equals. He was supposed to be with me, and still. Why was he the only one who was saved? What was the difference between me and him? Oh, we're getting closer. A new prologue is now unlocked. Okay. Just a second. Interesting. Once again, the bad endings don't seem to have CG, so I won't look into those. How many CGs did he have? 38. And Eel is going to have 35. 35. Okay. Skippy time then. Wait, except for a new prologue. Let's see what this one says. Betrayed. I was betrayed. I stared where he was supposed to be in pain from anger, bitterness and despair. He's no longer bound to this place. His heart is completely separated from it. How? Why? He and I were supposed to be equals. He was supposed to be with me. And still, why was he the only one who was saved? What was the difference between me and him? A fierce rage pierces through my heart. The disappointment of my friend's betrayal. The envy of the fact that only he was saved. The despair from knowing I wouldn't be. The longing for the hand that would save me. Disappointment, despair, envy, longing. Feelings that should have dissolved long ago continue to fill my heart. Oh. Why? Why is it just me? I don't know. Who are you? Well, whoever that is probably the same person, being, who keeps trying to get us killed. A bunch, sometimes more, sometimes less. In this route, they didn't show up at all. Probably has some kind of connection to Mishir. Because Mishir is going to be the true route as far as I'm aware. Nope, nope. You will give me a copyright strike.
So.
I have no idea. Mishir is hiding something really, really big. But Jesus, what is it? What is it that he's hiding? I want to know. But before we will get to know that, we have to skip through all of this again because it's a pain. I wish more games would employ the skip to next choice option. And just if there's new stuff in between, then it'll stop. So basically you're all regulars here at the cafe and you're not humans, but beings that have come from another world, right?
そう、その通りです。さすがはそうだね、孫娘。理解が早くて助かります。
ああ、これで一安心。それと、そのまま本題に移りたい。
The exit subway.
何故？
なんと、その様子からしててっきり理解してもらえたのかと。
No, what I understood was the fact that you are all completely and utterly suspicious. If you try to tell any sane person about any of these fantastical delusions, they would never believe you. I glare intensely at the faces around me. The only way this makes sense is if there was a hidden camera, and someone comes and tells me this is all a big prank.
あらら、これはどうしたものかな。
I like
現代の若
how
者は
Kutone
疑い
is
深いね。
sometimes she has some real spunk in her. This is, of course, a normal reaction. But then we continue on. I can't believe we're still actually getting choices that we haven't done yet. And once again, I really want to know how other people figured out this is how you get to the different routes, because I'm gonna be honest, except for like the 2 or 3 times you get to choose who you want to hang out with, other than that it's really not obvious whose affection you're gaining with the choices, or how I still don't know how it works. Like, I'm using a guide and the guide says do this, and I'm like, okay, if you say so, then I will do that. Oh, I got so used to his half face. It was a bit jarring seeing him completely normal right now, not gonna lie. I'm just going to talk to all of you. Oops. I wonder what Eel's route is going to be about, though. Like, he likes gates. Then we hang out with him that one time and go to that Oh yeah, there's a different choice we will have to make when we hang out at the game event with him, probably. I wonder what will happen. Or how much of a difference there will be, because after that there was just, oh okay, we're going to fly now. Do you like flying? He says, already several hundreds of meters in the air, and we're hanging on for dear life. I sure love flying. But still, this is my second to last chance to say this. I wish if they make, because they made the common route so long. I read a hydrate time. Hold on. Okay, hydrate time first then. They made the common route in this game so long that you actually get to know each of them a bit and see some parts of what their route will maybe be about, right? Then why did no one think of maybe using the skip option I told you guys about like 2 seconds ago? Because like, you have 8 chapters of main story that are several hours long, and they know that people do not play just one story in these games, just one route. First of all, because some routes are obviously locked behind seeing all the others first, and then they know that each time you have to go through this and it takes like half an hour, because there's like 3 new things you will read every time, which we're going to do now. You have so many games. You really do have a lot of games. Huh? Wait, it looks like there are multiple copies of some of these games. That is very much a Japanese thing. Like, on one hand I'm sad we don't have a bunch of bonus items with our game releases. On the other hand, at least I don't have to buy like 7 different copies of the same game just to get 1 pin with them. Not to say that I do not have games where I own several copies. Like, I own 4 copies of Valhalla at this point, probably. Or Planet, or... Yeah, yeah. And these do not all have special bonus items. Like little bonuses. The drama CDs. That's so mean though. Like, imagine you try to collect everything, and Eel is the type of a guy who collects everything. He wants everything, so he'll probably buy all of them. Types of special products for Otome games. The contents can be anything from commentary to behind the scenes notes. Wait, the actual games themselves don't differ at all, is that correct? I note to myself as if I were a scholar. Although I haven't experienced it myself, this hobby sounds rather expensive. I like how he's so obsessed with Cardia and Lupin though. Possibly things that he forgot about. I guess... I don't know. Like, I don't think they think like, if you buy these kind of games, most of the people I know and have seen that play Otome games play them all in one go. Like, one route after the other and the other and the other, so you don't actually forget that fast because you just do it all at once. And I think Automate especially, I mean, that they Automate itself it only does Otome games. I think they know who they're selling these games to, like their main group. And if you wanted to read the stuff, you could still do that. We'll just continue. It's not like it's that bad, it's just I just have to fill a bunch of time with endless rambling. A pyramid of love. So we're equating this small structure to the ancient ones with such deep histories. Also, how do I put this? It sounds like the title of an old song. Does it? Alright, we're going to sit in front of him. He's so cute. I didn't think I would like him as much as I do. But during the last few Otome games I've played, I've actually liked the hot-headed kind of like, it's mostly the young, just a little younger characters. Like in this case, he is the youngest of the love interests. Way more than I expected. Because like most of the time they're kind of annoying. I'm just gonna say they're kind of annoying. It's like, play with me, do this and that. But then they have that deep backstory of why they are like this. It's like, how does it go? The saddest people smile the brightest. Something like that. But like, I like them. I am beginning to like them more. In Color Malice, I really. There was also a red-headed guy there. Oh, what's his name? It hasn't even been that long since I played it, but I forgot. And I still, like, of all the characters, I still don't like his story that much. Simply because I like the others so much more. But he's voiced by one of my absolutely favorite voice actors ever. So I'm just sitting there. I do not enjoy your story as much as you would like me to, but I do enjoy your voice. But the character was one of those characters. So I'm sitting there. I do enjoy your voice, but please stop screaming. Please calm down. He's not in this one. No. Huh? Actually, I don't remember hearing what Eel was in charge of. When I think of it, does Eel have real everyday skills aside from computers? What is this? I've got a bad feeling about this. Uh-oh. What is he doing? Gaming, probably. Following my instincts, I head down toward the cafe, but... Huh? There he was, alone. A figure sat at the counter, not eating or drinking. He did nothing at all. He had a great posture. His figure was pure. This was, of course, the one I worried about. Eel, what are you doing there? What about getting ready for the tea party? As I speak, Eel smiles, turning back to me.
準備ですか? お茶会に関しての事項であれば、私は特に何も任されていませんね。
Oh no. Huh?
あらゆることで邪魔になるから、お前はここで座っているのが一番いい。
Oh no.
皆の推奨を受けまして。
And he's literally just sitting there. He's not even doing anything for fun. He's just sitting there. I see. My hunch wasn't exactly right, but wasn't far from the mark either, I suppose. Are you not good with course, Eel?
ええ。
いわゆる家事全般には全くと言ってよいほど自信がありません。
And you're proud of that? Why is he saying this so confidently?
ですが、乙女ゲームもなしにここでひたすら待機というのはさすがに時間を持て
He
余
would
して
be a
しまい
great
ますね。
streamer. Like one of those 24/7 streamers, just like, and today we're playing this game, and then like a week later he will finish with the game, and now we're going to play this.
ことね。
And people watching him will just be like, wait, we have a real life. We cannot keep up with you. What the hell? Sure, I can do that. I feel restless just having to stay in my room and do nothing. But before that, should I bring something for us to drink? Of course. I go to the kitchen and explain the situation to Cadence and Ignis, who were in charge of the food. Sure enough, they corroborated the no entry into the kitchen mandate declared on Eel. I wonder what he must have done to this kitchen in the past. Probably knocked everything over with his wings. I took some juice and grabbed 2 glasses, beverages, and hand I sit next to Eel. With a thank you, Eel took his cup. I just heard earlier you're not allowed to step a foot into the kitchen. But then you're not allowed to get even a single drink for yourself. That's a bit inconvenient, isn't it? He doesn't need to drink, right? He doesn't need that. He doesn't need to be so restricted, at least that's what I thought. He seemed to be able to guess what I felt about this.
特に不自由を感じたことはありません。
Oh.
私が何か飲みたいとそう訴えれば、誰かしらが提供してくれますから。
My mom would kick your ass so fast. I'm just saying.
正式なオープンもしたことですし、これからは注文という形で
It's like,
あなたにお願いすれば。
oh, I never had to do anything for myself. I have someone who does it. Boy, if you don't get moving. Right, that's true, I guess. I landed a weird grunt. What is this? This feeling that we aren't connecting. But you know, there will definitely be days where Enchanté won't be open for business. I can go with you for the time being. How about we try and get permission for you to at least peek inside the fridge? I give my suggestion and then Eel stares at me intently, narrowing his eyes. Eel, what's wrong?
いえ、今のあなたの発言で気づいた事実がありまして。
Yeah?
ことね、あなたはソーアンとは異なる人間なのですね。
Yes? Of course we are? Huh? What? You're asking me that now?
はい。ソーアンならばこういう時仕方ねえなとぼやきながら好き
Here
な
we
も
go,
のを
you know
用
it
意し
was
て
it.
くれました。
Okay. You too, have a nice night. Thank you for stopping by.
なので、孫娘であるあなたも同様の言動をすると思ったのですが、違う返答が返ってきたので少々驚いています。
We are quite literally different people. There's even a full one full generation between me and my grandfather. Of course we would react differently. What? I felt so taken aback by his words. Wait, just a second, Eel. Just let me process what you just said. At the same time, a bad feeling arose. Eel, could it be that you truly believe my personality and my grandfather's are literally identical?
はい。血縁者。つまり遺伝子情報からして近しい個体だと私はそう認識していましたので。差異は口調と性別だけだとばかり。
Oh my god. This honestly made me hang my head. I see. No wonder he'd been so friendly to me. Eel viewed me as a literal copy of my grandpa. What is this? I was feeling so happy about getting closer, but now I just feel estranged and hurt. In an attempt to clear the looming depression, I moved to take the straw in my mouth that was idle in the cup of
で
juice.
すが、
Eel continued the conversation.
ソーアンと異なるからといってあなたに失望することはありません。むしろ好ましい距離感だと考えます。
Is it? Huh? I stopped.
例えば今現在、あなたはごく自然に私の隣の席へ着席していますね。
Yeah?
ソーアンならばカウンター側に回り、マスターとして私の話を聞いていたでしょう。 ですが、それとは対照的に同じ席で語り合ってくれるあなたというマスターも好ましい。
Eel smiles gently and speaks again, this time showing in his beautiful eyes a true reflection of Kotone Awaki.
ことね、私はこれから己の認識を見直し、常に見守っていた草案とは違うあなたとの関係を模索したいと思います。
He's so interesting.
その過程で質問などをすることもあるかと思いますが、
He's so...
協力してくれますか?
How do we end up dating a literal fallen angel? I ask myself this any time and with all of them, but how do we even end up dating someone like this? Eel answered me honestly. He told me he saw me and Grandpa's one the same, but he knew we were different as his talk unfolded. With his innocent smile and his stance toward correcting himself without hesitation, my initial shock began to wash away. Actually, I feel very relaxed now. Of course, I'd really like to get to know you too. From here on out, I'll be able to start establishing our relationship with him. Seeing as we officially open today, there couldn't have been a better time. And boom! There goes the text. It's like... like, Eel can't even go back to his own world. Like, unless he's at full power and everything. So he can, I don't know, shake off everyone who would try to start shit with him. Because the one time he was hurt so badly in Ignis's route, they were like, oh, we can't take him back to his home, even though he would heal faster there because it's too dangerous. So, how is this going to end up when a literal fallen angel starts dating a human girl? Like, hi. Did you fall from heaven? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Because you look angelic. I don't know how it actually goes. How do you say it? Did it fall when you heard? Did it fall when you heard from heaven? Oh. Help me. Dear God, help me. And if this game doesn't tell me how those weird doors came about, I'm going to scream. It's like they build up all these worlds and interesting storylines, and it's all it does go pretty deep. They make sense. They give us a problem within that world. It does make sense. And then we just brush it off. Oh, not brush it off, I'm forgetting English tonight. Ah, hello. Oh, we haven't done this one today. I quietly take a sip from the wooden cup and a sweet scent runs through my nose. That's so good. It was easy to drink as if it were mixed with maple syrup and honey. I felt my cheeks smell at this flavor unknown to my human palate. I wonder if I could use this in a drink. To put it in coffee would be difficult, but maybe there are other ways to use it.
ならば牛乳と組み合わせて蜂蜜ラテにするのはどうで
A
しょう?
honey latte.
私はぜひ飲んでみたいです。
Honestly, whenever I hear or see some of these really interesting drinks, I really wish I could drink coffee. Or I would like coffee. Because they sound so
けど
interesting.
採用され
They
たら
sound
毎日
tasty,
カ
but
ブスに
then
こ
I
れを
drink
運ん
coffee
で
and
もらわ
like...
ないとだけどね。
Oh, Eel, let me see. Are you two done already? You were surrounded by fairies just now.
ねえ、天使と魔族の組み合わせがとても珍しく映ったようでして、大変な質問攻めに遭いました。
Aha, I can imagine.
1個質問に答えると10個追加されるんだもんな。さすがに魔王様も口は一つしかないからさ。
With a smile, I extend out my cup and the two bring theirs in for a toast. With the pleasant sound of the wooden cups meeting each other, I narrow my eyes. Seeing a scene like this really makes it feel real to me, as if it wasn't already. That this really is another world. It's not just the people or the setting, the atmosphere itself is the most different. Igna's mentioned it before, but it's thick, sweet.
ああ、昼に話したエネルギーの話だね。イルにも多少影響があるみたいだし。
Thick energy?
ここでイルが力を使ったら光とかじゃなくて花が降り注いじゃったりするからね。
ミシェルの場合は
No, don't say that!
食させそうですね。
I'm sure Ida meant no harm, but that image was a bit much. Huh? So then are the mysterious powers you two use not actually magic?
いいえ、むしろ正反対ですね。
Yeah, his is logic.
魔力同様、科学では未だ解明されていない異世界にある未確認の元素たち。
His is some kind of math magic that I do not want to understand. That I will not understand. It's math.
人外の一部はその元素を利用して超常事象を引き起こすんだけどね。イルが使うのは理論と計算を重ね、
There it is.
天
Logic
へ
and
祈りを
math.
捧げることで
Executed by praying to the heavens.
天使特有のご利益あふれる光の法術。
No wonder. No wonder God never listened to me. Feeling blasphemous on this stream tonight.
対してミシェルが使用するのは定義が存在しない個人の知識と魔力で術式を組み、万物に干渉する魔法です。
The two nodded at each other as the other explains the power they employ. Aha! It was a bit difficult to
まあ
understand.
わかりやすく言うと、イルが使うのは緻密な計算に基づいた術で、
ミシェルのは大雑把ななんかす
Some
ごい
kind of
力
power that's really
ですか
strong.
ね。
Wow! Oh, I see. The explanation seemed oversimplified, but it was direct and understandable for someone like me.
まあ世界ごとに力の定義も違うし、呼び方や形がバラバラなわけだから、一朝一夕で理解なんてできないし
And we
な。
haven't seen much of it yet in the route, so.
ああ、違うものなんだ。くらいの知識でいれば十分だと思うよ。
Just like, okay, I'm a demon world. My power can only destroy.
いずれ私の法術を披露する機会があるかもしれませんし、
Absolutely.
比較してみるのもいいかもしれませんね。
You will see your powers. Okay, I will. We will absolutely be able to see your full powers. I miss her. Of course, she wouldn't be of any importance in the other routes, but I miss her. She's so cute. I love her design. Like, even though this is a full not mystery, fantasy game, her design is one of the most fantasy ones in my opinion. Like, it's definitely, it's like if someone tells you, okay, show me what you think a fairy looks like, her design fits that to a T. It's like Ignis being a fire wolf. Yeah, I guess. But it's not the first thing that would come to mind when someone tells me, okay, how would you draw a fantasy creature that is a fire wolf? And there's just some guy with red hair. Uh-huh. As for angel, yeah. Fallen angel. For me, a fallen angel would have black wings. Or like some kind of broken wings. if he even had any wings left at all, because he's a fallen angel. Like, if I think of a fallen angel, it would be someone who has lost their wings because they did, I don't know, did something wrong and were banished from heaven. So they had to give their wings. That's the kind of thing I would imagine a fallen angel to be. Well, Karya has always thought he was human, and also the fairies are one of the most human looking creatures in this game, so his design is fine. He's just a normal guy. Rindo is a normal guy. Canis doesn't have a head. He is headless. He's a Dullahan. So I still think Kotone is not completely 100% human. Also, I just realized the weirdo assistant that we have not seen a face of did not actually do a lot in Rindo's route. Except for that one time when he told Mikado, hey, do you want a promotion? And Mikado was like, okay, and then everything happened. Which means he's going to show up in some other route, and we only have 2 routes left, which is the one we're trying to get to right now, Eel's route, and obviously Misha's route. So, whose will it be? Whose will it be? We saw some guy, some question mark guy after, we will see it later again, after the scene with Eel where we go flying. Where some guy says, aha, so that's what you've been up to, Eel, whatever his full name was. So either that one is also someone completely different that we have not seen yet, or it's the guy whose face we have not seen, but who is voiced, so he is important enough in the story to have gotten a voice. Or he actually really doesn't matter, he's just there to throw us off. But the game is not very good at throwing us off. So far, everyone they've shown us who had a voice and their own sprite was somehow important enough to be a part of the story. If I am completely off the mark by the end of this, then I did not say anything. But I don't think I'm that far off. If you look at the Japanese page of the game, they have listed a bunch of characters there. And there was some guy on it that I have not seen yet in the game. And I really hope it isn't a spoiler. Like, maybe that is the guy's face? Maybe it's someone completely different, but then I don't see why they put him on the page if he's a spoiler. Oh, it's new text. Wait, I've heard of that before at media, haven't I? How your powers and eels are different.
そうそうで今回は内容的に適しているイルに活躍してもらうって感じかな。
Oh wow, there's actually a difference if you speak to them before. Wow, it's a 2-box difference. Okay. Oh, that's nice though. Tiny subtle differences if you do or say one thing earlier in the game. That's nice. Haha, my bestest friend. Dromi. Yeah, Dromi was completely absent. It's so interesting. Like, do the whatever happens in their own routes does not happen at all in the if you're on another route. So technically, people are safe. Like, does Dromi just not do his thing in the route where we get together with Rino? Am I the only person who's actually thinking about that? Is everyone else just like, hey, it's not their route, who cares? It doesn't matter? Was Automate like, okay, well, we don't care. I don't know. I don't know. Which one is this? Yeah, okay, this is the part where in the end they all go on dates with me, but we only see the date of the guy we are trying to get. Get out of my cafe, Dromi! Little bastard boy. I wonder what Eel's date idea... Wait, never mind. We see Eel's date in the end either way, so we have to do something different. Okay, we do the thing where we see Ignis's thing. Which means we will see him skateboarding for like a second. Because I'm still on skip. No? No? Guess I mixed up the... Guess I mixed that up. It's not the one where we see him skateboarding. It's the... Oh, right. It's the one where we get... where a bunch of dogs pile on top of him. Right, never mind. Now, it's the one where we hang out with him. But this time, for the choice, we do something different as soon as we get there. There we go. Where do you want to go? I'm happy you're thinking about me, but where is it that you want to go? Yeah, I'm sure there are things you'd like to see or places you'd like to go, right? But you look like you're enjoying this and you'd feel bad to ask me to tag along. Am I wrong? Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. That's... wow. Well, that was a really big change. Never mind then. Okay. Yeah, there was the question mark guy. Here's the we're walking on air thingy. Because he gets 2 CGs right after each other. And then it's the chapter with the tiny ones that I already forgot the name about again. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Right, and all of this is stuff we have already seen. There he is. I wonder whose route he's a part of. Ho ho ho. Right, now we're on the island. And this animation for some reason is not part of the skip. And you can't skip it. There are the funky skeletons. Then we're running for our lives. Then these two show up and it's like, oh, you should be more careful. You would have almost passed me as well. Blah, 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 blah. Then the big skeleton hand will show up. No, wait. First. Wait, is the choice first? I think the choice was when we were still in here. Yeah. And then it's the fight against the skeleton hand. And then we'll finally be in Eel's room. And then we'll try to finish like at least his first chapter, hopefully. I don't know how long it will be. Windows route was so short in comparison to Ignis's. Because Ignis's took me 3 or 4 streams. And Windows we finished in 2... No, never mind, this is the 3rd stream technically. But like, if I... Yeah, I could have made it in 2. But then it would have been so late and I had to get to work, so... But still, it was way shorter than Ignis's route. So... I am guessing Eel's route is going to be longer again. Like, way longer. So hopefully we can make it through at least a part of it. Alrighty. This scene still feels like it's more like the end of the full game where everyone works together to fight off something trying to invade the human world. But no, it's just the end of the common route. It's just like, okay. Full fight. With everything we've got. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, this one will also be new because we always meet the guy we're trying to get on the route with before it actually happens. I felt like I heard someone's voice coming from the backyard. I wonder if someone's there. I wonder. A bit curious, I peeked into the yard, but I didn't see anyone. Thinking it was my imagination, I was about to head back into the cafe when... A voice came from above, along with feathers drifting down to me. Where are you? Eel quite literally began to float down after asking me these questions. Ah, you surprised me. I was wondering whose voice I was hearing, Eel. Wait, Eel, were you just up on Enchanté's roof? Oh, valid. Singing. That's right, I thought I heard a voice in my conversations before. That's what it was. I thought so before and I heard you from a distance during the incident today. Your voice is really pretty, huh? Of course he didn't. Yeah, I can't articulate it well, but it's different from a regular singer. There's something divine about it, maybe? It sounds pure. Something not infused with anything else, and it just feels like you, I guess. Eel blinked in confusion for some reason. Oh, maybe that's a little esoteric. You're telling a fallen angel his voice is pure. I mean, why is he a fallen angel? Hello? I want to know. Smiling at me, Eel looks up to the sky. The moon hung there in the distance. Hmm? He whispers with his pure voice as if looking out to somewhere far away. Dun, da, dun, dun, da, dun, da, da. Oh, why does he look so sad? Baby. He's the first character that does not have a perspective change at the start of his route. That's interesting. Wait. I was about to say we only have 9 spaces, but we have 99 spaces. Okay. A melodious bird song signaled the crisp balloon, drawing my ear to the joyful chirps. How lovely. The sunlight stunned my eyes sore from slumber as I shuffled to look out my window. It was idyllic, almost as if the Yamasaki Island incident had never happened. Enchanté sat below the brilliant sky, blue and infinite. But it wasn't the tranquility that stole my attention on this fine morning.
見てください、イグニス。このゲーム雑誌に掲載された記事を。
Why do you talk like that?
ああ、んだよ突然。何二人の科学者の運命が今交差するサワノイダー海 VS ノーチラス Z 特別先行試写会のお知らせ
What?
そのような奇怪な映画の話ではなく、隣の新作ゲーム特集のページです。私が人間界に来て初めてプレイした乙女ゲームが近日リメイクにて再発売されるらしいのです。古いがゆえにソフトもハードも壊れ、ダウンロード版も発売されず、時代に取り残された悲しき名作。それが10年以上の時を経てまたプレイ可能になろうとは。これこそまさに奇跡。きっと私の原作への愛と祈りが天に届いた結果でしょう。聞いていますか、イグニス？
ああ、聞いてた。落としちまった限定リンゴタルトが再販されたって話だろ。よかったな。
Ignis, don't be rude. Ignis munched on a cheeseburger with no intention of looking back at the magazine. The weather brought with it good conversation, another one of the day's peaceful gifts. But the best gift of all was seeing Eel's gleeful smile as he waxed poetic about his favorite Otome game being remastered. The clock chimed as the minutes struck the hour. It dawned on me to say something to Eel, who was still engrossed by the article. Eel, shouldn't you get ready? Go on and prepare your belongings before we go.
おや、もうそんな時間ですか。それでは部屋から財布を持ってきますね。
What? Eel hunted gentle tune and skipped upstairs, then as if to replace him. Canis emerged from his room and waited for Eel to pass before heading down the staircase.
イルとどこかへ出かけるのか。随分と機嫌が良かったな。
Yep, we've been planning this trip to an Otome cafe for a while now. Call-up cafes, whose name suggests a cafe opened in call-up with games and anime. Most of them are held for a limited time only, and many fans of the original work come to visit. They can have anything from limited goods to original food dishes. Oh.
カフェならアンシャンテでことだろうけど。
How to put this? They call it a cafe, but the experience is way different. They devise a menu based on locations of things from the game. They even sell merch. He went on and on about collecting all of the limited coasters to complete his little fandom shrine.
あいつ働かねえくせに金は持ってるから立ち悪いよな。
It was indeed likely the angel was in his room, stuffing fistful of gold into his pouch. I momentarily indulged in my daydream when Ignis pointed his nose at me
あの
sternly.
乙女ゲームのイベント以降、箱入りが外に興味を持ったのは、まあそれは歓迎すべきことだけどよ。あんま甘やかしすぎんなよ。
We're just having fun. I'm not spoiling him. Besides, going to other cafes is good for business. Consider it market research.
活動的になったという点だけにはとても喜ばしいことなのだが。
That reminds me, when I had first moved to Enchanté. Eel shut himself in his room to game for hours. Ignis took great offense to this and barked. Barked!
な、出てこい、結界を解きやがれ、引きこもり天使。てめえもう3日はほとんど部屋から出てねえだろ。飯ぐらい食いに来やがれってんだ。
拒否します。私はこの作品の全ルート攻略が完了するまで集中すると購入当初から決めていたの。
Oh no! On the second floor, conflict of sorts waged between a fallen angel and a beast fighter. There were more than a couple instances of Enchanté's foundation being shook. Uh-oh.
以前にも増してイルは趣味を満喫しているようだな。我もどうにか付き合ってやりたいとは思っているのだ。行きたがる場所が場所なだけに、そうどうしても限界があってな。
I'm sure. I couldn't help from smirking as there was no mistaking the embarrassment in Canis' voice. As expected, the only places Il had expressed any interest in visiting were related to Otome. In other words, they swarmed with women. Although women who attended Otome events were something else entirely, Il rarely felt comfy in spaces with members of the opposite sex. Wait, no, we're talking about Canis.
最近はあなたとの外出に慣れたおかげか。
No?
外
Yes, huh?
だいぶ板についてきたよ。
Did they ever say that Il doesn't feel comfortable around women?
間違いなくイルにとってもいい傾向だ。本人に代わって感謝する。
Huh?
ことね。
Oh shucks, no need to thank me, it's no problem at all.
とはいえ油断だけはすんじゃねえぞ。
Yes. Unlike Canis' show of gratitude, Ignis kept sneering, pointing his nose upward.
多少慣れてきたとはいえやっぱあいつは俺たちと比べてもいろいろと欠けてる部分が多いんだよ。どんな行動が人間にとっての異常になるか、何をしたらヤバいのか、そういう部分の理解度が想定よりもはるかにできてね。マジモン
Okay,
の箱
Jesus
入りなんだ。
Christ. Come with us then. Be damage control.
俺たちが一緒でも1秒目を離したら大惨事なんてことザラなんだ。だから慣れてきたからって甘く見んなよ。
Walking nuclear bomb. Ignis, you're so dramatic.
お待たせしました。それでは出発しましょうか。
Yeah. Alright, we'll be off. Ignis, Canis, make sure the place doesn't burn down while we're away.
任された。
たく、あいつ俺たちが人外だってことは忘れてんじゃねえか。
Yeah, most of the time. No way! Oh my god, hold on. Wait, that on the left? Ah, I already forgot his name, god damn it. That's the main, the true root guy in column Malice. Then the one next to it is that I always forget what it's called because it didn't come out in English. Yeah, no, the three to the right of him, these didn't come out in English at all. I'm not sure if the one with the funky drug and hypnotic story was from Automate, but it could be that one on the far right, and then the chibi ones are from that's Cardia and Van Helsing. Yeah, it's a bunch of the chibi characters from Code Realize, but the ones in the middle I don't know. And one poster is called Malice, and the others are from games I haven't played because they're not out in English. Wow, amazing! As we settled into the eager crowd of fangers, I heaved an astonished sigh. Gorgeous decorations, big illustration panels decorated all around us. At the back of the shop was a humongous widescreen TV playing Otome-related trailers on a loop. For a moment I thought I had found myself in just such a game, but I was silly! Ha! Ha ha! Is it? Just as I anticipated, he was in his element.
ことね。私たちの席はここです。早く座りましょう。食後には店内の撮影会もあるのですよ。
It's okay, okay, calm down. The fallen angel, liberated from his usual graceful veneer, frolicked around excitedly. As I reminded him to calm down with a genuine love, I took a glance around. Il stood out, that much was true. Thankfully, unlike last time, it seemed the other guests assumed he was with me. The thought gave me relief, and I headed towards the seats Il motioned towards. As we were sat in our chairs, my eyes started around the table, staring in awe at the luncheon mats and other memorabilia. I watched as Eel carefully stowed the paper luncheon mats into a case without creasing them, then we both peered at the menu. As we flipped through it, Eel's eyes widened at the vibrant photographs inside.
素晴らしい。このメニューは私の一押しキャラクターの好物です。盛り付けを含む再現度はほぼ 100%。
I'm gonna be honest, I would probably be the exact same if I ever had the chance to go to a cafe such as this.
加え、専用のスプーンまでもが彼を象徴するマークでデザインされています。
But I wouldn't say it out loud. Wow, they really spared no expense. I never would have noticed.
ええ、素晴らしい再現度と愛にあふれたファンサービスです。
He's so cute.
このメニューの考案者にはぜひ天の加護を施したいものですね。
It does seem worth the money.
見てくれこれ、気まぐれで買った宝くじが。
マジですか先輩、いくらゲットしたんです？
5000円。え、微妙。バカ野郎、嫁に財布を握られている身としちゃ大金だ。これは飲みに行くぞ。俺がおごってやる。
The man's cheery mood brought a smile to my face. I peered back at the menu. Okay, let's decide on what to order. You said we get 1 coaster per item, right? Eel nodded. It seemed he already made up his mind. While it was rare for Eel to show any sort of interest in food aside from sweets, the occasion stirred something in him, and he ordered a stew, which caught his eye the moment he opened the menu. In that case, maybe I go with the pasta. Now for drinks. The character latte art. Oh! Will we get a CG for that? Will we get to see? Hey! The server set down her tray and placed down our meals along with our steaming cafe lattes. I noticed Eel had ordered the same thing. Whoever prepared the drink drew a lovely illustration directly in the phone. Latte art refers to the technique of drawing pictures on the surface of cafe lattes and cappuccinos. There are 2 types. Free pour, where the picture is made while pouring milk foam, and etching, where a special tool is used to draw detailed pictures after pouring the milk foam. Oh, this is amazing how they do it.
そうでしょう、そうでしょう。崩すのを躊躇してしまうほどの出来です。
Take a picture then.
しかし飲み残すのはルール違反とのことです。せめて貴重な記録を残してからいただきましょう。
Yes. Eel joyfully took out his smartphone to snap photographs of the latte art. I mimicked him, taking one photo myself to honor the occasion. I stared at it for a moment on my phone, taking in the finer details. This is an animal, right? It's cute, but what is it?
人間界の南半球の海に生息する鳥類の一種にして海鳥。
A species of seabird which is congregate near oceans and near plants are in
通称ペンギンですね。
Why won't you just say penguin then? It was a penguin? But look at the way its bangs curl. Why does it have an aristocratic haircut?
髪が生えていてもペンギンです。ジンゴも取得しています。
Which of these games has a penguin in it? Ah, I see. Well, I guess it's a video game
かつ
after all.
日本の神です。とある神社で祀られているそうで。
It does? A god? This law was getting out of control. The more I heard, the more puzzled I became. It occurred to me that asking any lingering questions would only confuse me more, so I decided instead to take in the rich aroma of my food and dig into the meal. It doesn't just look gorgeous, it also tastes delicious. Being a chef myself on top of owning the cafe was a bittersweet admission, but I couldn't deny myself the stimulating experience which only inspired me more. I wondered to myself how well received a line of illustrated lattes would be at Enchanté. Perhaps with latte art of the regulars? After all, no other cafe could claim that. Yes, what a wonderful idea it was. I twirled a fork's worth of pasta into a snug bite, mentally working out the details.
こちらのメニューもとても美味です。よろしければ一口お分けしましょうか。
Huh? Is that good? Maybe I will.
はい。では。
As I turned to face Eel, I froze. To my surprise, a fancy spoon was held right before my face, neatly cradled with a touch of sauce on top. Ah, so this is the design made in the image of the character. Wait, this isn't the time for that. Eel, is this...
遠慮せずにどうぞ。
That's not what I meant. As expected, his gesture drew attention from all around the cafe. A fact, however, to which Eel seemed oblivious, showing no sign of embarrassment as 100 eyes were pointed at us.
乙女ゲームのイベントでもよく行われている行為だったので、一度再現してみたかったのです。
He's so cute. He flashed a look of genuine satisfaction. Then Eel began to sway the spoon as though to urge
どう
me
し
on.
ました？これは親しい者同士での普通の行為では？ SNS でもよく画像を見かけます。
Oh my god. That's right, but
それとも私はあなたとこの行為ができるほどの相互理解や親睦を満たしていませんか？
that was not the case, of course. For all intents and purposes, I should have been close enough to Eel by now. Honestly, it was simpler than that. I was embarrassed. But the last thing I wanted him to do was feel silly, so I tried to muster the courage. Just one bite. I let Eel guide his spoon into my mouth and I ate the stew.
いかがです？普通のシチューとは少し味付けが異なるでしょう？
Yeah, it's delicious. I wonder what the secret ingredient is. I overcame the sudden trial as I let out a mental sigh of
そ
relief.
うだ。私もあなたの料理を食してみたいです。
Oh. Poke. Eel pointed to his own lips, smiling as though he waited for me to reciprocate. It was only natural for me to do so, right? As if to answer my question, he gazed at me with his innocent eyes. With a bright red blush, I bleached. After completing a second sudden trial, as I take a bite of the additional dessert which Eel had ordered.
グッズの注文はいかがなさいますか？
缶バッジとアクリルキーホルダーを私と彼女の2人分、それぞれ上限ずつお願いします。
上限いっぱいですね。かしこまりました。
His casual manner of requesting was impressive.
すみません。そのコースター、私が持っているキャラと交換してもらえますか？
ええ、ぜひお願いします。こういう催しの参加経験は少ないので、そちらから申し出があり助かりました。
Then Eel bounced happily around the different stations, trading duplicates with other girls. If anything, I was thrilled that Eel was enjoying his time at the cafe. Even for myself, there was merit to be found mingling with fans at such an event. It was a wonderful introduction to Otome. Of course, speaking of Otome games, I had recalled our conversation earlier that day. By the way, Eel, I overheard you discuss some kind of remastered game with Ignis this morning.
ことね、もしやあの作品に興味が？
I wonder what game it is though. Yeah, you said it was the first Otome game you played after coming to the human world, right?
私が人間界に来て初めてプレイした乙女ゲームが近日リメイクにて再発売されるらしいのです。古いがゆえにソフトもハードも壊れ、ダウンロード版も発売されず、時代に取り残された悲しき名作。それが10年以上の時を経てまたプレイ可能になろうとは。
I wonder if they just made one up or if there really is one specific game they're referencing.
と私の原作への愛と祈りが天に届いた結果でしょう。はい、あの作品で私は愛の素晴らしさを知りました。司るテーマは汚れなき真実の愛。その響き自体が素晴らしい。あの作品こそが今の私を作り上げたのです。
The sprite. I got the impression from Eel's heartfelt claim that the game left a huge mark
や
on
は
him.
り美しき愛を知るのに乙女ゲーム以上に参考になるものはありませんから。ああ、思い出したら発売日が待ち遠しくなってきました。早くこの手に届かないものでしょうか。
I can tell you're excited. Still, love, huh? I was hit with anxious thoughts of my own. What was it about love that had so thoroughly entranced Eel? Was he romantic? My gut instinct told me that his fascination with the concept was more rooted in his love for Otome rather than romance itself. Since he was an agent of being referred to as Cupid, it seemed he just liked love. That seemed the likeliest situation. In which case, what was the worth in questioning him about it? The more I discussed the game with him, however, the more interested I became. Not to mention, playing it would help me understand eel better. If it's so interesting, then maybe I should try it too.
本当ですか?
Yeah, lately I have some time and stamina to spare too. I mentioned this to Eel as I skipped to the menu's title info page, hoping to learn the hardware requirements. However, what could I do? It was far more expensive than I had anticipated. I could ask Eel if he would let me borrow it, but doing so likely meant less time for him to play it himself. I looked up, lost in thought. And there he was, still beaming with joy, ready to continue talking about the game in great lengthy detail. After everything I said, it seemed painful to admit my doubt in being able to afford it. I guess I need to save up some money. I softly muttered under my breath so Eel wouldn't hear me. Is the game itself that expensive, or is it that you just do not have the console required?
やはり数の多いコースターコンプリートはそう簡単ではありませんでした。
Right, since I ran we ended up with a ton of duplicates. But we could go again. The Toma Cafe is going to be open for a while, right? Eel began to blink his eyes at me when I posed the
ま
question.
た来てくれるのですか? 私と共に?
Sure, why not? Sure, for the schedules align. I filmed Eel's hopes, causing his cheeks to
嬉
relax.
しいです。あなたが来てからというもの、自由に楽しく外出ができるようになりました。もちろん今までソーアンや港の外出も有意義ではありましたが、前回のイベントや今日のようなコラボカフェはなかなか来る機会もありませんでしたし。
I see. I'm happy if you're having fun, Eel. We talked lively as we headed back to Enchanté. At first glance, Eel was acting fairly normally, no different from any other pedestrian, but I couldn't help myself from letting Ignis's warning drift back into my head as I looked at Eel. Oh? Why, he's been fine so far.
やっぱあいつは俺たちと比べてもいろいろと欠けてる部分が多いんだよ。どんな行動が人間にとっての異常になるか、何をしたらヤバいのか、そういう部分の理解度が想定よりもはるかにできてね。まあ俺たちが一緒でも1秒目を離したら大惨事なんてことザラなんだ。だから慣れてきたからって甘く見んなよ。
What do you think is going to happen? In these circumstances, Eel wasn't outwardly causing any problems, and our simple outings went smoothly. Considering Eel's carefree personality, sure, there were a number of things I needed to look out for, but yeah, it's nothing to worry. I mindlessly blurted my thoughts out loud. Aha! As we approached a familiar park, Eel stopped walking.
ことね、公園で休憩にしませんか? 歩いた距離から考えると少し疲労しているでしょ?
Huh? But don't you want to hurry back to your room to open your
台
goods?
風のタイミングで中身は変化しませんし、元よりあなたの体力より優先することではありませんよ。
He smiled gently as he made his suggestion. True, just as he said, my legs felt a bit sore. I see. In that case, would it be okay to accept your offer? Eel and I found ourselves a nearby bench upon which we sat to take in our sights. Time slowly passed. The bustle of town echoed from the distance, along with lively voices of children. Combined with the fair weather and my fatigue, naturally... A yawn spontaneously welled up from within. Whenever sleepy thoughts entered my head, oftentimes that would be it. I started to nod off to sleep.
ことね、そのまま私に身を預けて寝ても構いませんよ。日が落ちる前には声をかけますから。
At Eel's gentle prompting, my field of vision dimmed further and further. My cheek leaned over and touched his shoulder, and just before I passed out.
せっかくです。あなたが心地よく眠れるよう歌を奏でましょうか。
That's all fine and well, but it's probably going to end up with the entire park falling asleep. From Eel's throat, a clear and beautiful singing voice spread through the park. It lured me into a world of slumber. As my thoughts began to dull, my field cut in and out. Why was I here? What was I doing? Unable to find the answer, my consciousness flittered between light and darkness.
目が覚めましたか、ことね。
A soft-spoken voice lifted me from my heavy slumber. Ah. Thank you, Eel. I think I dozed off for too long. Right? Or so I was about to ask. Within my field of sight, there were several people collapsed to the ground. Of course. I was dumbstruck. What's going on? Right before our eyes, man and woman faded throughout the park. The old man sitting on a bench next to us hunched over like he had gone limp with closed eyes. That wasn't all. Even dogs were being walked and birds which moments earlier had chirped in the trees had fallen to the ground. In other words, for some reason every person and animal within the park lost consciousness. A bizarre situation, to put it lightly. This is bad. We need to call an ambulance. I hurriedly pulled out my smartphone to make the call, but...
必要ありませんよ。彼らは単に眠っているだけです。
Huh? Eel nonchalantly interrupted me. As he said when I took a closer look at the unconscious people, one was snoring away, resting comfortably with his tongue sticking out. Eel? A cold sweat dripped down my back. Don't tell me this was...
はい、これは私の歌、砲術の影響です。あなたがよく眠れるようにと行ったのですが、どうやら範囲内にいた彼らにも影響してしまったようですね。
Well, I did expect that.
時間が経てば自然と目を覚ましますし、何も問題はないかと。
I screwed up! I was at my wits' end ready to scream. Within no time. Wait, how long will that be?
そうですね。皆耐性のない人間ですから、効果は3日ほど継続しますね。
Wait, what? That's practically a coma! Then from outside the park, people gather in large numbers, noticing the mass of people who are rendered asleep. What should we do? Today's top story, an entire park has inexplicably fallen into a coma. I was beginning to see the headlines playing on TV in the future, but I couldn't just leave these people in their current state, so I thought it best to call an ambulance. As I grabbed my smartphone out of my pocket, two familiar figures drew out from the crowd and began to approach us.
二人とも。
あっちゃー、術の気配から予想はしてたけど、やっぱりイルの仕業か。
If it's only in a park, at least we're safe from people falling asleep in their cars while they're driving, so hopefully he didn't reach anyone in that situation.
奇遇ですね。二人が共にいるとは珍しい。一緒にお出かけを？
そんなわけないでしょう。僕は完全な通りすがり。
Rindo seemed a bit flustered. He motioned with his eyes towards us with Michio, urging him to say something.
はいはい、言われなくても対応しますとも。ああ、君たち人間組は耳塞いでて。魔界名物ハーピーの鳴き声アラーム。スイッチオンってね。
A monster that appears in Greek mythology, also called Harpuia. The face and chest of a human woman, but the rest of the body is a bird, including wings. They often appear in RPGs as an enemy. As Rindo and I put our hands to our ears... they actually put it in there. Jesus. Ow! Even with my ears covered, the shrill voice pierced through my head. After several seconds, all of the slumbering people and animals began to wake one by one in confusion.
ま、とりあえずこんなもん。目撃者へのフォローは頼むよ、リンド。
OK。そっちはすでに手配済み。それより、まずはうちの打天使様にお説教だね。
He was taken by total surprise. All he could muster as a response was a troubled tilt of his head at Rindo. Yeah, he's not even aware of what he's done. Or like, how bad it is. With the uproar in the park settled, we all managed to return to Enchanté. However, Eel sat poised in his chair with all of the other regulars encircled around him. Rindo too was at the center, slamming his fist onto the table as he interrogated Eel.
さて、イル。何か言いたいことはあるかい？
そうですね。あえて意見するのであれ。カリア、そこの計算は間違っています。 今出した値は X ではなく Y の方を代入するのが正解です。
え、マジで？ああ、これ引っ掛け問題か。助かった。ありがとう。
No one cares about your homework. After receiving the instruction, Kadia, who was bent over in a seat a few tables over, ran his pen through his homework assignment.
そうじゃないでしょ。
先ほどからリンドはなぜそこまで憤っているのです？私はそれに公園で歌ってはいけないとそのような諸注意を受けた記憶はありません。
Eel's lack of concern prompted Rindo to grab him angrily by the temples, forcing Eel to look up at him. With a look of indifference, Canis cut into the color. He doesn't have a head. How is he giving a look of indifference?
イル、まずはお前が歌った結果、引き起こされた事態を振り返ってみろ。
As instructed, Eel reflected back to that time.
聞けば昨今の人間は忙しさのあまり睡眠時間が不足し体調を崩しているとのこと。よって彼らは私の歌により短時間とはいえ質の良い睡眠が取れました。大変な善行と解釈しますがいかがでしょう？
He gazed back proudly in an almost divine way.
それはそうなのか？
いや、ちげえだろ。
I saw Misha straining a smile at this interaction, so I asked him a question. Misha, does Eel's magic work whenever he sings? As I recall time in which we walked in the coolness of the evening light, Eel was singing, which sprang forth a miracle of sorts. So he can't sing without the magic working?
状況によりけりかな。今回は意識せずに歌ったから、通常はちゃんと対象や範囲を指定して発動させるから、そうそうこんなことは起きない
Okay,
の。
so he does have control over it. I see, so this doesn't always happen. That's good. Well, maybe not good.
それとイルの法術は決してそれでも天使が法術を行使する上で歌は重要な儀式となるようでな。より上質な効果を望む、もしくは大規模な術を使う、そういった場合に用いるらしい。
In other words, by performing a divine hymn, he strengthens his spell's power. Angel Song, an important ritual for angels. By offering a song to heaven, they can be bestowed with increased magic power or other desired effects. What a thought-provoking concept.
この国の神社や祭りでも神に恵みを祈り舞が捧げられるでしょ。あれと似たような感じなのかもね。
I get it. Wait, if it was a prayer, does that mean Eel had prayed for me to rest, which resulted in his powerful lullaby? Put simply, the cause of the disturbance was my own existence? I became dizzy with anticipation and began to sweat bullets in my head.
ともかくさ、今回も後処理はどうにでもしておくけど、イルは周囲への影響を考えて動くこと。
このやりとりも何回目だろうね。
同様の質問であれば、私がアンシャンテに来てから計37回ほど経験しています、ね。
That's 37 too many.
そこを覚えてるんなら、その先を学習しろっつうの。
まったくだな。
Before I knew it, the cafe's usual calm atmosphere was disturbed. Huh? Everyone, wait a second. Are you already done with this conversation? Everyone gave me a puzzled tilt of the head in response to my question and blinked curiously. I know things thankfully worked out, but a lot of people were involved. Maybe you should get Eel to understand a little more about how dangerous it could have been. You know, like, shouldn't you explain a little more to him? I turned my gaze once again to Eel, the one at the center of this. His eyes were closed as he was lost in song. There was no mistaking it. He had no idea how dangerous that situation could have been, not the slightest grasp. Just because it worked out in the end, I don't think we can leave it there. He needs to know why you were scolding him and why his actions were problematic. We should explain it thoroughly and talk about it in specifics until Eel understands.
具体的な説明。なるほど。確かにそれがあれば、私も対策のしようがあるかもしれません。
Surprisingly, Eel responded affirmatively to my suggestion. I cleared my throat and took a breath. With everyone's effort, we could make sure that no matter what Eel does, we can trust him to make the right call. However, we shouldn't miss an opportunity to teach him, not without our help. Eel needs to be able to think and make decisions for himself. We should encourage that. After all, in the end, the one to face the consequences and suffer will be Eel himself. Honestly speaking, my guess is that Eel will write this off as only being prohibited from singing in the park. I began to explain in great detail. Everyone had a surprised look on their face, but they seemed to understand.
それはまあ確かに。
人外だから、天使だから、イルだから。そんな風に考えてしまって、僕たちで対応するのが前提だったのかも。
He may need it to be very specific or take a little longer, but it's not like he's dumb. It's just that he takes everything very literal.
言われてみりゃそうだよな。てめえ自身が理解しないから何度でも同
He's
じ
like
こと
a
を
little
やっちまう。
child. And you tell the child don't do this, and then the child is like, okay, I won't do this specific thing. While you mean the entirety of it, like if you do this and this is the consequence of that, you shouldn't do that. Meanwhile, the child is like, okay, I'm not allowed to do this exact thing, and then they do the same thing but in a different setting, and because they don't realize that it will have the same effect.
ここで過ごす中での常識。
And they brush it off because
我らは甘えて
they
いたのかも
just
しれ
deal
ない。
with it. But you can't always deal with it. Even so, despite saying that, it occurred to me that changing Eel's pattern of thought would be quite a challenge. For now, I decided to explain to him about this specific disturbance. Eel?
はい。何でしょうか。
While it's true that humans value their sleep, it wouldn't be safe for someone to suddenly pass out, then maybe bump their head on the ground, right? That would be dangerous, so going forward, I would appreciate it if you took that into consideration. Would that explanation suffice? No. What exactly did his silence mean? Normally Eel was all smiles, so when he became stone-faced, I had no idea what he was thinking.
人間の脆さを失念していました。確かにそれは危険なことですね。わかりました。以後外で催眠系の術を使うのは控えることにします。
Okay, that's right. Excellent. He grasped what I was telling him. With a sense of relief, I stretched out my arms, after which Ignis said something with a
ま
yawn.
解決したならいいけどよ。今朝俺が言った言葉の意味嫌っつうほど分かったろ。
Don't get all high and mighty. It's not like you do anything different. Yeah, you were right. Too right, almost. Maybe we need to reassess things. I was really fortunate that no one got hurt, just sheer good luck. What if our fortunes turned? For now, it was nothing more than a what-if scenario, but still it came to mind. While thinking such things, I went to Rindo and bothered him slightly. I'm sorry about this, Rindo. I'm sure it takes a lot of work to mobilize the GPM.
ああ、いや、いいんだよ。実際君の言う通り、僕も注意を適当に済ませてたところがあったし。
No, I was the careless one here also, it seems. But without even going that far, GPM is a government organization, so we can't keep bugging them. Aha. As I was deep in conversation with Rindo, I overheard a conversation that was going on concurrently behind me.
なぜ私のことで琴音が謝罪をするのでしょうか。
そりゃ監督責任ってやつだろ。お前の世間知らずを承知で連れ出したんだからな。
監督責任
Several hours later, after all of us had finished our dinner, supervisor responsibility. When a high-ranking member of a team takes responsibility on behalf of the team, I opened the dictionary on my smartphone and repeated the definition in my head. To think there was a custom for falling on the sword for someone else's blunder, but then I remembered when Rindu went all over Amasaki Island on an apology tour. Who received what benefit for the establishment of such a rule? Humanity was truly incomprehensible.
さすがに彼女へ謝罪をすべきでしょう。
My lack of foresight had embarrassingly moved Kotone to bow an apology. She seemed truly regretful. This did feelings I couldn't quite place, but manifesting such consequences inspired me to never make the same mistake again. I crept quietly downstairs. I overheard a running faucet. It seemed she was in the kitchen tidying things up after dinner. Slowly I continued. I tiptoed towards the kitchen. Something had pulled my collar from behind, forcibly holding me in place. I sensed no physical force, but rather a magical manipulation of space. There was only one being other than myself capable of just such magic.
こらこらストップ。イルは厨房できんでしょ。欲しいのはジュース、ケーキ。俺が取ってきてあげるから、ここでおとなしく待ってな。
As expected, it was Michie.
違います。私はただ琴音に。
コーヒー？ああ、カフェラテ入れてほしいの。なら、
No, he wants to talk. He wants to apologize to us.
ですから。
He must misunderstood my objective completely. However, I had no time to explain, and he forcibly set me down at the stool beside the counter.
おい、そんじゃ俺は魔界に戻るから、ちゃんと彼女に時間外料金を払うのを忘れないようにね。
Without parting gift, Misha fled the room, shutting the gate behind. I had been given clear instructions not to enter, so I had no choice. All I could do is wait here for Kotone to come out. Okay, thanks you two. It seemed I had erred, for Kotone was not alone. Candace and Ignis kept her company. Judging by the tone of voice, they were assisting her with the cleaning. For some reason, I was assailed by a dull knock of emptiness.
しばらく時間がかかりそうですし、部屋に戻りましょう。
I thought I marched back to my room. Then I rested my cheek upon the hammock which lay in place of her bed. Normally I would immediately pick up a nearby game console and start up an Otome game, but at the moment it felt like a hollow pursuit. In open public spaces I had been forbidden from singing divine hymns. If only they had told me earlier, I wouldn't have erred so However, where could I have obtained such information? Hello! I hadn't been here in 10 years. Such matters were of no consequence before. When Soen was still alive, this place, Enchanté, was my world. I once believed Otome games to be the cornerstone of my emotional education. Well, if you take all your knowledge just from games, of course you would make mistakes. Once in a while, Ignis would drag me out, or I'd venture outside with Soan, but no matter what occurred, I was swiftly dealt with, and no such criticism had been... What the fuck? Which is why I had no need to learn of the world outside, nor did I have any interest. Please use words I know. But no, it's different. Ever since Kotone arrived, my curiosity in the outside world blossomed. I sought knowledge outside of my comfort zone, but my fervor in tandem with my carelessness caused considerable trouble for Kotone. Not only had she escorted to something Escorted to something I insisted upon seeing, I repaid her kindness by foisting responsibility onto her. These cryptic feelings stirred tirelessly within me, so I sought comfort by nervously caressing my limited edition figurine. The means and process to purchase such goods was well recorded, so I learned it immediately. Common sense. Over and over, Rindu, Ignis, and the others instructed me to do so. However, no matter how many internet pages I passed through, I found no such documents. I had no clue what to reference. What were sense and sensibility? How had they differed from manners? What things are allowed to be done? What things are subject to punishment? What helps others adapt to the human world as if it were nothing? And... Aww. Kotone is a good human. She politely listened to what I have to say and took me to places at my request. Causing trouble for her was no admirable act, that at least I understood. Then going forward to avoid repeating the same thing, was it best for me to refrain from ever asking her to take me outside? No, no. Ah.
彼ならこういう時どう反応するのだろう。
That's not. Are you asking God?
いる。入っても構わぬだろうか。
Hello? A voice at the door interrupted me whilst deep in thought. The slow, piercing voice belonged to Canis. Had he finished assisting Kotone? And no particular reason to refuse him entry. Come in. I returned to the door.
失礼する。夕食時のお前の様子が少々気にかかってな。今回の件についてだが、あまり気に病むな。無論、お前自身が己を見直す必要はある。だが、偏った対応をとってきた
You're going to confuse the guy even further.
いる。どうしたのだ。
それは私の言葉です。どうしたのですか、カヌス。
Excuse
私
me?
の顔を見つめているのでしょう。
That is not how he usually talks. A strange feeling came buzzing in my ear. Had I struck a nerve with him?
いや、何かいつもと雰囲気が異なるような気がしてな。さすがのイルも反省しているということ。
What? Induced by Canis tilting his head in question at me, I returned the same gesture. Huh? And now they're going to end this chapter, aren't they? No, not yet. Never mind. The following day, thanks to everyone's quick reactions, the incident never went public. But we went totally off the hook.
ほほー、なるほどなるほど。それは面白いことが起きたものだね。
It's so weird to see both of you in the same screen back after what happened in the other routes.
まあ、起きるべくして起きたって感じっすよね。
You shut your mouth. At the time, an unusual combination of guests had visited. Of all the regulars who normally could handle the rush without issue, only Rindo was here with
イル
me.
さんがどんだけ強いか知らないっすけど、ベスティアじゃ生きていけなさそうっす。こう、騙されて、サクッと殺されそう。てか、俺の名前も間違えて覚えたままだし。天使ってみんなあんなぽやぽやな感じなんすかね。
Considering what you are up to, I also will not refer to you with the right name anymore. How would you like that?
お待たせしました。ご注文のアイスホットケーキとバニラアイスになります。
配膳ご苦労様だね。では早速いただくと。
Are the hotcakes hot?
このアイスホットケーキ
やだな。
レンジでチンが必須のやつでは。
面白い能力っすよね。
Your ice cream is probably frozen.
勝った！スプーンの方が折れ曲がっちゃったんですけど。
What? Karia, these two are here as customers right now. Right, Karia doesn't like Mikado and Kororo doesn't like Dromi. I don't blame them. Karia and Kororo next to him click their tongues at the same time.
ああ、ごめんね。昨日の騒動を聞きつけたの
Like
か。
Mikado, well, I still like Mikado, but I do not like Dromi anymore after Ignis's food, so. Nah.
ミカドのやつ、最近はドローミともよくつるんでて、その時もたまたま一緒だった。
No, it's fine. There's still customers here. I appreciate the business. Our lively chat continued for a short while.
いやー、それにしてもつくづく打天使というか、彼の得意性は興味深いね。
Is it? Mikado, excuse me. Mikado had given up on poking his hot cakes with his fork, gazing at the stairs leading to the second floor. Did you say peculiarity?
そうだとも。彼は人外の中でもレア中のレア、天使なのだよ。身体、頭脳ともに優れた存在にもかかわらず、人間界についての知識を身につけるのが非常に遅い。
Are you making fond of him or are you complimenting him?
この矛盾、得意性と言わずして何というのかね。
Now that Mikado had said it so fervently, I stopped working for a minute.
ああ、考えてみればそうっすね。俺だってもうここにはある程度馴染んでるのに。
Don't be mean.
なんつうか、あの抜けっぷり、天然の一言で片付けていいんすかね。
That's
というわけでだよ。この際、イル君も一度カリア君のように精神鑑定を受けたらどうかな。
absolutely not.
そう、むしろ
No.
今からでも。
And no, the exit's that way. Upon saying this, Mikado ran up the stairs to the second floor. Hey, wait, you can't just go up on your... However, without a moment's delay, Rino grabbed him by the collar and restrained him.
話したまえ。人の善意はありがたく受け取っておくべきなんだぞ。
いや、お前のは善意じゃなくて単なる好奇心だからね。ほら、もう目的は達したんだし、帰った帰った。この後向かいと合流する予定なんだろう。
僕は諦めないからな。
星よね。
首元い羽を洗いふっかふかにして待っていたまえ。打天使ことイル君。
What?
羽毛布団かよ。
After being casually tossed out by Rindo, Mikado strides away from the shop.
言ってる当人がイルさんに負けず劣らず変人っす。
Says you. He almost felt like Kododo gave Dromi a cold look and told him, "You want to talk?"
っていうかさ、人外って大半はいるみたいなもんなんじゃない？カヌスたちとかがこっちに馴染むのが早すぎるだけで。
What do you mean?
ほら、俺体調管理のためにたまにメディオへ空気を吸いに行ってるじゃん。そこで小さい妖精とかにちょくちょく会うんだ。やっぱこっちの話が通じないっていうか、まずホニャララとは何って知識の話から始まるんだよね。普通はさ、そういうもので通じるから説明なんていらないじゃん。
Upon hearing Kadia's words, Rindo realized
あ、
something.
そうか。例えば妖精に対して車道は危険だから気をつけろって忠告しても。
うん。まず車が何かから説明して、そこからまた
Well, of course, a fairy has
車
never
の
seen
何
a
が危
car.
険なのかまで説明しなきゃいけない。
So how would they know how it's dangerous? That made total sense. After all fairies had wings, there was no need for cars in their
妖
world.
精たちはメディオだけで生活が完結してるからいいけどさ。
So didn't they say something about how those fairies have limited intelligence in their world?
イルは人間界で生活するのが精一杯で、それを学ぶ機会が存在しなかったんじゃないの？まあもちろん自分から引きこもってた影響もあるんだろうけどさ。
Isn't it just... It's just a circle. It's like... He gets to the human world, he's an airhead, he's dangerous if you let him go out on his own because he doesn't know any better. So, but you never really explain it to him, you just tell him off a bit and then let it go. And he continues doing that, and he continues locking himself in his room, and that's been going on for several hundreds of years. Of course it's going to turn out like this. That's right, its homeland, also known as Kelm, seems to put value in different things. What was he thinking? Rino went silent with a serious look on his face. Maybe Grandpa had felt the same. He had to put all his effort into helping Eel settle into a normal life. There was no time to teach him anything else, if only he had more time. But if Eel ever changed his mind, if he strongly desired to know more about the human world, I'd want to help him however I could to help him fulfill his dream. However, speaking of Eel, he hasn't shown up to the cafe at all.
いつものことじゃないですか。きっとゲームに夢中なんすよ。
Why are you still here? I guess that's true, but I just hope he's not too down about yesterday. I looked over at the stairs that Mikado charged towards only a minute ago. A flurry of anxious feelings came at me. In the end, after sunset, it was time to close the shop, but Eel never came downstairs. I went out to buy things for dinner. As I greeted and chatted with townspeople who had met along the way, I realized something. Compared to everyone else, I don't hear much talk about Eel. Of course, some people expressed concern for him, like the elderly couple I passed by, but for the most part, nothing conspicuous. It's probably because, when Grandpa was still alive, he never got to leave the house, which explains why Eel never realized how peculiar his values and behaviors came off to others. Since Eel started coming outside, I don't really want to restrict him too much. Right, I just have to be more careful next time. Carelessness is the greatest enemy. I engraved those words into my heart. Just then, by sheer coincidence, I happened to pass in front of a game store. Sitting in front of the store was a large retail TV, which played lively music. I was hit with a déjà vu as I choked my stare at what played on the TV screen. How do you choke a stare? Alright, is this an ad for that memorable Otome game Eel mentioned? When the title was finally revealed, my hunch was confirmed, so I stuck around to watch it. Oh, it was the footage and editing. I ended up making a low voice of impression, much like Canis would when. Behind me, someone talked from pretty close distance, and I swung around quickly in surprise. Yeah, it's you. I would have known that voice anywhere. I still haven't looked up who you are, voice-wise, because I don't want to spoil myself, but I would have known that voice anywhere. Before I knew it, standing there was a man who I've seen before, but don't really know. He's wearing a hood, and his face is almost totally hidden. Ah, if I recall, you were Mikado's assistant.
GPM 開発課課長Mikado Akira は
Hello, this is the first time we've spoken, right? I'm Kotona Awaki. It's nice to meet you. Did you not hear me?
お前はいかなる理由でこの映像を観察していたのか
I guess it's going to be Eel's route where we find out more about this guy. Who's totally trustworthy. This video he met Otome game at, right? Out of interest, I guess, one of my regular customers has been looking forward to this game's
例
release.
の打天使か
Oh yes, it's him. Mikado must have told you, right?
皇帝だ
He said it was a remake of the first Otome game he ever
そう
played.
か
Unlike Mikado, you're not very interested in Eel, are
回
you?
答を拒否する第三者に語る必要性を感じない
Okay. I see. A silent type or just a
無
bookish
駄話
person?
が過ぎたMikado Akira よりこと捨てを預かっている
Do you know? From Mikado? For me? When he visited the shop around lunch, he was forced to leave, so maybe he didn't get to
皇
tell
帝
me.
天崎島における事件林道薫による妖精会メディオの調査資料の増加により
Oh.
Mikado Akira はしばらく多忙となり安倍カリアの身体検査を担当することが不可能となった
Okay. Wait, then what should we do in the
も
meantime?
とより安倍カリアは自主的に GPM に出向く傾向がないよってMikado Akiraの代理として私が次回以降のアンシャンテに出向き彼の検査を担当する
Aha! I'm not sure I want you in my cafe. I see. Mikado must be having a tough time. Understand, I'll let everyone know. And while you're at it, please come by to enjoy some coffee as a guest too. Anyway, I'll be going now. Please treat Kaya well. Kotone, why do you trust these people so much? So easily. Why do you do that? Does this look like someone trustworthy?
ああ、やっと見つけた。こんなところにいたのかい、女子くん。まったく、人を迎えに来ると言いながら、約束の時間も場所もガン無視するとはね。おかげでこの人混みの中、君の姿を探す羽目になったよ。
You're probably like, oh, why is a child like you walking around on his own at this time of the day, right?
ところで、去り際の姿がちらっと見えたけど、アンシャンテのマスターと話していたのかい？直接会話するのは初めてだろう。どうだい？彼女に対する印象は。
平凡平均的なステータスしか有しない
Don't be fucking rude.
あれを御する力などかけらも持っていない
Hey.
つまり興味なしと厳しい評価だね。
Controlling that, controlling her.
を求めるのも酷だと思うけど。
それよりもMikado Akiraこの広告映像乙女ゲームなる娯楽機構についていかなる面か詳細な説明を要求する
Oh, it's still going! How long is this chapter? After I'd secretly watched Kotone depart so that I could go shopping. Wait, what? Okay. I returned to my room and began to play Kotome games as I normally would. I could not shake yesterday's events from mind. As Candice had suggested, it was imperative for me to live as usual. However, my thoughts and actions contradicted. Normally, the stories of love shared between the characters on my stream would cause my heart to flutter. I could hardly put on my headphones. Is it really okay for me to be carefree and play Otome games like this? Absent-mindedly, I returned my gaze to the Otome game screen in my hands. I pressed the progression button. The next message is "Thank you for all your help, you're so dependable." The heroine's lines of gratitude to one of the main characters displayed. For some reason, while the word itself wasn't too unusual, it caught my eye. I pondered the meaning of the words which suddenly appeared in my view. I realized I had never taken the opportunity and I searched through my memory. In Otome games, if something happened, it often was the case that a love interest would help out. Is he really going to learn everything through his games? Perhaps that goes for Kotone as well, if she has a similar state of mind as this heroine. Misha, do you have a moment? I found some unusual coffee beans, so I wanted to try blending them. I want to hear your thoughts on the taste and to ask for any advice you have.
もちろん、ミシェル先生がしっかり助言してあげますとも。
Sensei. Sorry about this, Candice. I know I asked you to carry everything. Is it heavy?
この程度は軽いものだ。他にできることがあれば何でも言ってくれ。
Oh, so now he's realizing she's asking everyone else but not him.
一人で外出るなら好きだらけで歩くのやめろっての。
Excuse me?
タチの悪いナンパ野郎に絡まれるのこれで何回目だ。
Do not blame her, please. You say that, but how can I not be so vulnerable? But I'm glad you showed up to help, Ignis. Thank you. Do not blame her for getting picked on. No, not picked on. Oh, whatever. I recall daily life here with the figures of others helping Kotone. In contrast, she's only ever helped you.
Kotone, 今日時間は空いていますか？あなたに折り入ってお願いがあります。可能ならば今日中にここに私を連れて行ってほしいのです。
Eel, I just baked those wonderful cookies you mentioned before.
ありがとうございます。あなたの焼いたクッキーは程よい甘さで大変好ましいのです。私は特にこのココア生地が練ってあるクッキーの味を気に入っています。
When you say that, it makes it worth making them. Oh, I'll clean the dishes or leave them here. Are there any other snacks you want? It might take some time to practice, but I'm up to the challenge.
そうですね。では。
I stood in reflection until I realized.
ほとんど琴音の役に立っていないのでは。
In fact, I asked her for things I'm pampered and now I've created more work for her. Well, in a way, I suppose nothing's changed since Zoan was around. But with her, when it comes to Kotone, for some reason I have the urge to rebuke myself. Even though right now she's not in low spirits or in any sort of trouble, but it doesn't change how kind she is as Enchanté's keeper, for which I am grateful. Therefore... Before I realized it, I had put away my game console and walked in front of a certain room.
あ、誰だよ。
私です。
箱入り？お前が俺たちの部屋に来るなんて珍しいな。
God, Ignis is the kind of guy I would fight at some point. Like, he's just like your parents. You go out of your room one time to join for some kind of family thingy. And it's like, oh, look who decided to show up. Like, okay, guess I'll leave. Guess I'll just go back to my room. A hermit. While I was somewhat accustomed to the term, it stung as I entered the room. There's no sign of Canis. He's likely returned to medium. I decided to get straight to the point.
あなたに尋ねたいことがあるのですが。
んだよ、またゲームの話か。なら俺じゃなくて、カヌスか琴音あたりに。
I shake my head.
あなたが言う箱入りから変わるにはどうすればいいのでしょう。
は
Hehe. Oh my god, it's still going. No. 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 It's almost 11. And I have no clue how much more of the chapter is left. I wanted to finish his entire first chapter, but I have no clue how much there still is. It could be another hour, it also could be over in like 5 minutes, but I'm not risking that. And this is a good enough point to stop, I think. Let's look at this nice CG once more, because it's very cute. No, I'm making a stop here. If it's only like 5 more minutes the next time we play this game, then well, I guess. But I've been going for 3 hours, and I honestly cannot tell how much there's still left. So, Thank you everyone who came today, who's still here. I hope you enjoyed today's stream with both the end of Rindo's Route and the start of Eels like this. I guess his route will be about some kind of maybe other self that we saw a tiny glimpse of. We shall see. We shall see. Next stream for this game will be on Sunday, unless I do like an unannounced sudden stream if I feel like it. But for now, this shall be the end. Thank you. See you next time. Good night. Bye bye.